Winners of their last two games, the Evansville Otters, looking to once again get back on a winning streak against the New York Boulders this evening. Good evening to you. I am Matthew Will, joining you for another edition of Evansville Otters baseball. And last night it was the Otters who got the best of New York. But I tell you what, it took a long time to figure out who was really going to set the pace in this game. Finally, the Otters were the first team to score in the fifth inning on a RBI play by the new guy, Tyler Dones, making his professional debut last night. Gets his first professional hit, drives in a run. It gave the Otters the lead in the fifth. A couple innings later in the seventh, New York bounced back and finally got something off of Ryan O'Reilly, who was very good in the game. They scored one run in that top half of the seventh, but as the man tried to advance to third, he was thrown out, and because of it, the inning ended quite abruptly for the Boulders. In the bottom half of the seventh, however, the very first pitch, Zach Biermann hits 107 mile an hour and, pretty much 400 feet to right field to retake the lead for the Otters. That lead would not be surrendered for the remainder of the game. Evansville added one more run after Elijah Mcnamee doubled and then came home to score on a pass ball. In the grand scheme of things, the Otters win 3-1. Ryan O'Reilly gets his fifth win of the season, giving up just one run on 5 hits across 7 1/3 innings of work. He struck out 6 in the contest. Julie Sosa is the one who takes the loss in the contest. His first loss of the year, his first start of the year. Schneider and Munoz both came in to help out, but were not able to do quite enough as the offense continued to struggle in those back couple of innings for the Boulders. With the loss, New York dropped to 6th in the Frontier League East at 31 and 30. Evansville holds tight at second in the Frontier League West Division. We'll take a look at everything right now. Washington still hanging on to their lead here in the West Division. Evansville 3 games back. Schaumburg 6 games back. Joliet 9 games back. Gateway and Lake Erie tied at 10 games back. Lake Erie picked up a big win at Quebec last night. Cool to see the Crushers go up and get a big win. Florence and Windy City bringing up the rear at 13.5 and 14.5 back here in the West. Over on the east side, Quebec continues to really lead things big, up 7.5 games on Ottawa, who has a couple game lead on Sussex County, before Trois-Rivières and Tri-City both sit at 12 back. This New York team you'll see tonight, 13 back. New Jersey, 14.5 back. And Empire State at 41 games back. Their tragic number is now 5. It looks like Friday is their new potential D-Day for their playoff hopes. We will take a quick breather here on the pregame show, and on the other side, we've got starting lineups for you as we are just a few moments away from first pitch from historic Bosse Field. The New York Boulders and Evansville Otters doing battle on a Wednesday evening here from Bosse Field. And another welcome in to the press box here at historic Bosse Field, as we are just a few minutes away from first pitch between the New York Boulders and Evansville Otters. Let's walk through the starting lineups. First for the visiting squad this evening, the New York Boulders. Jake Mckenzie, David Vinsky, and Austin Dennis are the ones to kick things off. Keep an eye on David Vinsky this evening. Had a huge RBI chance last night, but came up empty-handed in it. It was probably the biggest at-bat for the Otters pitching staff, at least all night. And it was impressive to see them get through that batter and really keep themselves ahead in the game. Giovanni Garbella remains in the four-hole this evening, the DH. Francisco Del Valle will continue in that five-hole, playing right field. He made an appearance last night, but it was just for one at-bat in place of John Martinelli. Gabriel Garcia, Chris Quitzer, John Martinelli, and Max Smith round out the lineup. We see the addition of Francisco Del Valle, of course, and that adds one more lefty to the lineup. So still just three in the lineup that will face will face Bryce Studeville on the other side for the Otters. The starting nine for Evansville this evening is headlined by the Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon. Elijah Mcnamee will fill in the two spot, playing right field this evening, and Steven Sinsley rounds out the top three as the DH. Baez, Biermann, and a new face, Viola, in the middle three before Khalil, Felix, and Jones round out the bottom. Troy Viola, just as a heads up, a new addition signed today by the Otters. He'll look to fill in a third base position. Do want to go through what happened yesterday and today, transaction-wise for the Otters, just in case you had missed it. Yesterday, Samson Abernathy was transferred to the 60-day IL, ending his season. Our well wishes are with him, as it sounds like there is something wrong with the knee that he's going to probably have to get surgery on. Our best wishes with Samson Abernathy. Justin Watland hits the 7-day IL yesterday, while Drake Nightingale hits the 14-day IL. A couple of pitchers to keep an eye on for the Otters that have now fallen onto the injured list. Today, the Otters released Anthony Torellis, placed Brody Tanksley on the 7-day IL. Devin Buckner, the catcher, was placed on the suspended list, while all that together ushered in the new infielder Troy Viola, who we will see this evening. They are just concluding the meeting at the plate right now. So that means starting lineups and national anthem are coming up next. First pitch is just a few minutes away. Don't go anywhere. It's Boulders and Otters coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. First pitch is next.
For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Our national anthem has been sung here from Bosse Field. They are removing the colors from the field as we speak, but we are just moments away from baseball here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Another welcome in. I'm Matthew Will, bringing you Evansville Otters baseball just like usual here on both of our platforms. If you're joining us here on the audio-only version on our YouTube page, we thank you for utilizing that. Of course, thank you to all of our Flow Sports watchers as well. Of course, we always invite you to interact with the broadcast, whether that be on our YouTube stream by giving us a comment, who you root for tonight, where you're listening from, anything like that, or you can interact with us on Twitter at Eville Otters. If you want to give us any messages or drop us a follow, email today with all of the Otters right there. Before we go any further, we want to remind you that Evansville Otters Baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports is presented by Working Distributors Evansville. And with that, we turn our attention to the man on the mound this evening, the local kid out of Rockport, Indiana, and the University of Southern Indiana. The Bryce Studeville will make his way up onto the bump, looking for his first professional win. He was oh so close on Friday night, but a seventh-inning run allowed by him gave Sussex County a tie game, and he was not able to retake the lead before he exited the game, so he was not able to grab the win. Officially, he's 0-1 on the season with a 3.94 ERA. He's given up a combined 13 runs on 34 hits. He struck out 23, walked 19. Looking to get on the winning side of things this evening. The men he'll be throwing to tonight on the New York Boulders side of things, Jake Mckenzie, David Vinsky, and Austin Dennis kick off the starting three for New York before Giovanni Garbella, Francisco Del Valle, Gabriel Garcia round out the middle three. Chris Quitzer, John Martinelli, and Max Smith round out the starting nine for the New York Boulders. It's Studeville on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or you can give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that our public address announcer, Zane Clodfelter, sent you. Final warm-up toss from Bryce Studeville has been thrown, and we're ready for baseball here from historic Bosse Field in Evansville, Indiana. It rained all night, got sunny all day, and we're ready for baseball on a beautiful Wednesday evening. There's rain chances tonight, but they are going to be far, far into the night. We should get a full baseball game in, no problem this evening. Otters wearing their all-white home jerseys with script Otters written in blue across the front, blue numbers on the back. As for the Boulders, they'll wear powder blue tops, white bottom, or gray bottoms. First pitch comes home at 6:38 for a swinging strike one on Jake Mckenzie. The 0-1 is put into play to the left side, past the diving Viola, and through for a base hit to kick off this game. Viola looked like he just lost his feet in the dirt underneath him. And the day for Studeville starts with a base hit to the left side. Studeville's last time out came last week at Sussex County, of course. He gave up 5 runs in that first inning and then looked unreal in the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Really got into a groove, got quick innings, didn't give up runs, and gave the Otters a chance to win the game. Of course, if you tune in on Friday night, you know that the Otters ended up going on to lose the game in walk-off fashion there at Sussex County. Studeville and the Otters will look for a different result tonight. First pitch is a foul ball strike for David Vinsky. Keep an eye on him this evening. He is an electric man at the plate. The 0-1 sent home by Bryce Studeville. It's put into play towards right center field. Long run for Gordon. who is going to let it bounce in front of it. He'll struggle to pick the ball up, and because of it, the runner, Jake Mckenzie, is going to advance all the way to third, and just like that, back-to-back base hits have runners on the corners with no outs here in the first. Want to walk you through the Otters defensive lineup for this evening. As in left, we got Jeffrey Baez in center, Miles Gordon in right, Elijah Mcnamee. Across the infield, the new man Troy Viola takes over at third base, while George Khalil's at short. Tyler Dones makes his second consecutive appearance at second. Zach Biermann mans first base, and Justin Felix, of course, behind home plate as the battery mate for Bryce Studable. Austin Dennis, the man who was in the Royals affiliation last year, at the plate now with 2 on and no outs, takes a first pitch strike on the high inside corner. Speaking of a called strike, this evening's ball strike caller is going to be Brandon Spivak behind the plate. Matt Beaver is the officiate on the left side. Craig Sparks on the right side of the infield. The 0-1 to Dennis. Puts foul to the right side. It'll get out of play.
Pets Construction. Choose the best. Never regret it.
Still no Andy Armstrong, which is a little bit concerning for the Otters. He's still kind of taking things easy after that dive he had into second about a week ago. I guess at this point now it's been a week and a half, but jammed a finger and I think is just trying to make sure everything's okay before rushing back in. Austin Dennis looking at an 0-2 count. Runners on the corners and no outs. The pitch coming home. He puts it in play towards left field. Baez goes over, brings it in for out number 1. The throw home is going to be close, but it's bringing Justin Felix offline a little bit. And because of that, the run's going to score on a sacrifice fly, and the Boulders will get on the board here in the first inning. Officially a sac fly RBI for Austin Dennis. It advances both runners. Certainly not the start the Otters envisioned happening this evening. It'll bring up Giovanni Garbella to the plate. 1 out, runner on second. It's 1-0 Boulders so far. First pitch home from Studeville on the low outside corner. Fastball just stayed away. Garbella batting at a solid .294 this year. Fell from .299 last night. The 1-0 makes its way home on Giovanni Garbella. Zoomed into left field. Baez will rush in, bring it in for out number 2. The throw to second is close, but not quite in time as Vinsky was making his way back towards second. And it'll just be 1 out on Garbella. So with 2 outs and a runner remaining on second, the right fielder Francisco Del Valle makes his way to the plate. Del Valle appeared one time last night as a pinch hitter for the catcher John Martinelli. He struck out in that one opportunity. First pitch home's outside for ball 1 on
right fielder
Del Valle.
Francisco Del Valle.
A little bit of a breeze this evening, blowing out towards right field and out towards that Corona patio deck out there. Well, we've got a nice group of people out there. 1 ball, no strikes to Francisco Del Valle. Pitch on the way. That one still misses on the outside edge. Evansville has won 2 straight games for what feels like the first time in forever. In fact, the last time they did it was a part of the 9-game winning streak back in July. Since then, they've had 5 wins, but they've all been pretty spread out. 2-0 coming home. And it still misses. This one just a tad bit low, and Studeville finds himself back 3-0 in the count. Otters and Boulders play one more time tomorrow night to conclude the 3-game set and the season series, of course, because they will not play again. A 3-0. Tell Devian it's a called strike on the high outside corner. Much needed pitch there by Bryce Studeville. Defense playing pretty much straight up all the way around, except for the shortstop, George Cleo, who's trying to keep the runner close at second. There's a pretty good gap on that left side. A 3-1's put into play into right center field. It's down for a base hit. Gordon overruns it a bit, and it's actually Mcnamee who comes and plays the ball, but it's an RBI double for Francisco Del Valle, and New York has doubled their lead. Hard hit ball just fell out there in right center. Gordon overran it for a second, but even at that, he wasn't going to make it to the ball quite in time.
Batting sixth at third base, 34, Gabriel Garcia.
So the lead now at 2 for the Boulders here in the top of the first inning. They'll bring up Gabriel Garcia, who last night was in the 3-hole before going 1-4, and then today demoted down to the 6th spot in this lineup. First pitch home is a swinging strike 1. Garcia was way out in front of that off-speed pitch. As you can see there on the Boulders jersey, wearing their powder blue, and it's the old school Rockland name across the front, the name that they went by from 2011 to 2019. When they made the transition into the Frontier League, they became the New York Boulders. First pitch home is outside for ball 1, a bit low as well. Felix and Studeville as a pitcher-catcher battery have themselves a 4.36 ERA in their 18 2/3 innings working together. They have more walks than strikeouts in that time. A 1-1 is sent foul down the right field line. It's going to get well out of play, however.
The ball brought to you by Heads
Studeville gets
Construction.
himself ahead of the
Choose
count.
the best. Never regret it.
A nice sized crowd on hand for Astound Senior Connection Wednesday here from the ball field. Tomorrow night, a Thirsty Thursday brought to you by Edward Jones and Working Distributors. If you'd like to join us for that one, get tickets at EvansvilleOtters.com. 1-2 for Garcia, sent up the middle, through for a base hit. They're going to send the runner home, and he will score easily on an RBI single from Gabriel Garcia. The line keeps moving for the Boulders.
Hoosier lottery strikeout entered the game.
Just like that, the lead is 3 for New York. Taking advantage early in this one, getting on top of Bryce Studeville. So the defense will stay deep and straight up now, trying to get the sure thing out on Chris Quitzer, who makes his way to the lineup now. First pitch home is low for ball 1. Otters wearing their all-white home jerseys for, feels like the first time in probably 3 or 4 weeks. A 1-0 is taken for a called strike on the high outside corner. A nice aggressive pitch there by Studeville to get himself even in the count. As I look down along the concourse, I see our team's president, John Stanley, making his rounds across Bossy Field this evening. At the same time, Chris Quitzer takes a called strike 2, almost in the same place on that outside edge. Big time play here for Studeville, looking to get himself out of the first inning. The 1-2 coming home to Quitzer, and it's pushed foul to the left side. Viola is going to run after it, but it will escape the field of play.
Heads Construction, choose the best, never regret it.
The count will remain at 1 ball, 2 strikes. Viola, the new third baseman this evening for the Otters, hails from Purdue University. We'll try again on the 1-2 to Quitzer. Bounces in, gets away from Felix for a second, and the runner will advance to second. Studer will let that one work inside just a little too much. And officially, it's a wild pitch that allows Garcia to second. 2-2 now the count, with 2 outs and a runner on second. Boulders have a 3-0 lead here in the top of the first inning. Studeville kicks and delivers on the 2-2. Put lightly into play. Going to be played by Felix. The throw to first is just barely in time for out number 3, but not before New York scores 3 runs on 4 hits. They leave 1 stranded, and we head to the bottom half of the first. New York up by 3. To the bottom of the first we go, and we'll introduce you to the starting man for the Boulders this evening, Andy Hammond. The Miami, Florida native is in his second year with the team. On the season, Hammond is 3-2 overall, a 5.45 ERA. He's started 5 games, appeared in 8. He's clocked 34 2/3 innings of work, and in that time, he's given up 21 runs on 51 hits. Struck out 20, walked just 11. It's Hammond on the mound, Martinelli behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. The men facing Andy Hammond this evening. Kicked off by the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, whose mother is in attendance tonight. Welcome to Tammy Gordon to Bossy Field. Elijah Mcnamee, Steven Sinsley round out the top 3 before Jeffrey Baez, Zach Biermann, and Troy Viola mix in the middle 3. Khalil, Felix, and Jones round out the lineup for the Otters this evening. First pitch home to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon. Stays low for ball 1. In that top half of the first, 3 runs scored for the Boulders on 4 hits. They left 1 man stranded. Gordon zooms one out to left center field, chasing over his Smith and Vinsky. It's actually Vinsky who parks underneath it and brings it in for out number 1. Last night it took the Otters into the 4th inning to get their first base hit of the game. It came on a Steven Sinsley little drag bunt, if you will, to the left side against the shift. But the Otters were eventually able to grab a couple of runs of offense. 3 to be exact. They're going to need more than 3 this evening to win. They already trail 3-0 in this one. Former Mississippi State man Elijah Mcnamee makes his way to the plate. First pitch home to him. It's a called strike on the inside edge. Mcnamee's batting average has fallen to a 289. Otters have no active starter that's played in majority of their games that's batting over 290 now. Otters have hit really a two-ish, three-ish week slump all the way across the board. 0-2 pitch coming home to Mcnamee. Pushed foul to the right side. It's going to end up on the top of the dugout for the Otters. And one-handed by Brody Tanksley down there. Defense playing straight up all the way around, and we'll introduce you to him right after Mcnamee's at-bat. As the 0-2 comes home from the man, Andy Hammond, and it's a swinging strike three on a high and inside pitch for a strikeout and out number 2. With that, let's walk around the defensive alignment. Vinsky, Smith, Del Valle, left to right across the outfield this evening. Garcia's playing third, Gibbs at short, Mckenzie at second, Quitzer at first, Martinelli behind the plate, catching for Andy Hammond. A little note on Mckenzie and Quitzer there on the right side of the infield. They each have 11 errors this season, which each one at 11 is tied for 7th in the Frontier League. First pitch home to Sinsley. Big curveball stays outside for ball 1. The New York Boulders actually have committed the most errors in the entire Frontier League with 91. That's 4 higher than second to last place. Just for reference, Evansville's at 64 in 9th place, right in the middle of the Frontier League. A 1-0 coming home to Sinsley, and it's sent foul to the left side. He was a little bit ahead of that one, and the ball went off the edge of the bat. Otters have got to be more careful at the plate with the strikeout numbers, as they have committed the second most strikeouts on offense. Well over 500 now. 1-1 on the way for Sinsley. He lets it stay low for ball 2, and he finds himself ahead in the count once again. Breeze starting to blow out towards center field. We know that helps out Steven Sinsley. He can really punish a baseball. Full shift on against Sinsley. 3 infielders on the right side of the infield, just 1 on the left side. A 2-1 is swung on and missed by Sinsley, a low inside pitch. He was just chopping over the top of it. Andy Hammond quickly ready up on the bump as he fires home the 2-2 to Sinsley, which stays way inside near the ankle. Sinsley just turns out of the way in time, and the count heads to full. A little bit of a weight up there for Andy Hammond. As we're ready for the 3-2. On the way home for Sinsley. Pushed out to the left side of the outfield. Vinsky will travel a few steps to his right. Bring it in for out number 3. Otters are unable to do anything in the first inning. They go up and down 1, 2, 3. We head to the second inning. Otters trail by 3. as we head to the second inning here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. We're going to take another look through the Frontier League standings. Washington maintaining their lead atop the West. They're 3 games up on Evansville, who are 3 games up on Schaumburg, who are 3 games up on Joliet, which has helped Evansville out to give themselves a bit of a buffer to a potential out of the playoffs spot. Of course, we still have well over a month of the season left. On the East, Quebec is still really spacing themselves out despite a loss last night. They're 7.5 games up on second place Ottawa, who's another 2.5 games up on Sussex County. Starting to see a major gap over there in the East Division. Keep an eye on Empire State. Their tragic number now at 5. Friday could be the earliest that we see them eliminated from playoff contention. I'll keep you up to date with everything Frontier League standings-wise all week long here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Ready for the top of the second, and it's the 8-9-1 hitters of this New York team due up. John Martinelli, Max Smith, and Jake Mckenzie due up here in the second inning. First pitch home to John Martinelli. Stays low and put outside as well for ball 1. Steubenville had a similar game like this against Sussex County last weekend. Gave up 5 runs in that Friday night game before really settling in that 2nd through 6th. Long drive to center field for Martinelli. Dropping back is Gordon at the wall, and he makes the catch with about 2 feet to spare. Back there in center field. Lands on the grade out there as he brings in out number 1. A long fly out.
Batting ninth in center field, 5, Max Smith.
So now Max Smith making his way to the plate. The center fielder batting ninth yet again. Hails from Tucson, Arizona. Went 1 for 3 last night with a single in the 8th inning. He was stranded on first, however. First pitch home to Smith. Way outside, ball 1. Defense remains straight up all the way around. The center fielder, Max Smith. Steubenville nods home and fires home on the 1-0. The curveball never really got a big bite and stayed high for ball 2. I want to say well wishes once again to a good friend that's usually next to me, Bill McEwen. He is out once again with a non-COVID illness, just not feeling well this week. I know that Bill's out there tuning in and was really hoping he caught last night's game where Steven Sinsley bunted against the shift. I'm sure he would have enjoyed that. 3-0 now the count for Max Smith. And Steubenville kicks and delivers from the bump. Bounces in low for ball 4. That's going to allow Smith a 1-out walk. First base runner of this second inning.
Back to the top of the order, second baseman, 13, Jake Mckenzie.
So back to the top of the order we go for New York. Jake Mckenzie now making his way to the plate. Mckenzie started our game off with a single, came around to score on Austin Dennis's sacrifice fly RBI to left field. Runner on first, 1 out, and the first pitch home to Jake Mckenzie is swinging and missing for strike 1. Officially, it's a foul tip into the glove of Felix. Steubenville went elevated with that fastball. 0-1, the count to Mckenzie. And it's a called strike 2 on the high inside corner. Good work from Steubenville to go right back to the pitch that worked. Catch him looking. Big opportunity for Steubenville to pick up what would be a very important strikeout here. He'll try for it on the 0-2. Half swinging, ball 1, as able to check his swing in time was Mckenzie. But a good pitch there from Steubenville to keep it close and make it look honorable. Also want to issue a happy birthday to a good friend, Michael Russ, one of our camera operators here for the Otters Digital Network. 1-2 home to Mckenzie. Did he go that time? No, he did not, says the first base umpire, Craig Sparks. That will cause disagreement by the Otters faithful here at Bosse Field. Meanwhile, the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Back-to-back really good pitches from Studeville, but Mckenzie was able to hold up on both. 2-2 swung on and missed for good this time. That's a German-American bank strikeout, the first one of the day for Bryce Studeville. That will bring up one of the most dangerous hitters in this league, David Vinsky. Vinsky enters our game 4th in the Frontier League in RBIs with 55. Had a huge RBI chance last night, and Ryan O'Reilly shut him down. See what happens in this opportunity this evening. 2 outs, runner on first. First pitch home is high and outside, ball 1. The wind continues to kind of shuttle back and forth between straight out to center and straight out to right, but it's not much, just a little breeze this evening. 1-0 home to Vinsky. It's lifted high and foul. Will get out of play behind the seating area here at Bosse Field.
Red top ball.
Suda was able to even his count up.
Construction. Choose the best. Never regret.
Otters have a few men available on the bench tonight, one of which being J.R. Davis, who has a night off and rest tonight. 1-1, home to Vinsky. Stays just a little bit too high. Ball 2. It's good to see the sun stay out all day today after a morning full of rain. Looked like yesterday this game might not happen. Called strike 2 at the knees. Has the count evened up for David Vinsky. Big time chance for Bryce Studeville to get himself out of the second inning and keep the game where it's at. Vinsky ready at home for the 2-2. The runner at first is Max Smith. Pitch on the way. Low outside. Good stop from Felix to keep it in front of him. Tell you what, just like usual, they sprayed down this field before the game started, and this infield is really holding on to water. It still looks like solid mud all the way out there around the infield. So the count is now full for David Vinsky. 2 outs, runner at first. Studeville with a chance to end the half inning. Payoff pitch on the way, swinging strike 3. And it's a German-American bank strikeout that ends the top of the second. We head to the bottom half. Otters still down by 3 on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. To the bottom of the second we go. Otters still looking for their first base runner in this one. And the middle 3 will look to be the one to do it. Jeffrey Baez, Zach Biermann, and Troy Viola due up in the half inning. Jeffrey Baez in last night's contest finished 1 for 3 with a single in the 4th inning. It was the second hit of the ball game for the Otters. First pitch he sees, he skies out to right center field. Smith working to his left side, and he will bring it in for out number 1. Very quick pitch and out there for Baez. That'll bring up the man who won the game for the Otters last night, Zach Biermann. He hit a solo home run in the 7th inning that ended up being the game-winning RBI. It was the first home run for Zach Biermann in 22 days, and the first one for the Otters in 14 days. Good to see him back on the heavy hitting side of things. First pitch home to him here is a called strike on the low inside corner. Biermann went yard on the very first pitch of that opportunity at the plate as well yesterday. 0-1 is hit hard right at the second baseman. Mckenzie will play it on a little hop over to first in time for out number 2. Just 3 pitches so far in this inning, and they've resulted in 2 outs.
Batting 6th, third baseman, number 19.
So that'll bring up the new kid on this Otters squad, Troy Viola, the Purdue University grad from this last year, playing third tonight, making his professional debut. First pitch home for a swinging strike 1 on the high inside corner. The 0-1 for Troy Viola on the way now. Stays just a bit low and on the inside of things for ball 1, and evens the count up. Troy Viola hits a ball hard to the left side, played on 2 hops by Garcia. The throw to first is in time. It's 3 up, 3 down for the Otters. Just 6 pitches in the entire half inning. And through to New York, holding on to a 3-0 advantage here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports.
For the second
Top of the third inning.
Chrysler Pacifica, although
Otters are still unable to find themselves a run after 2 innings. In fact, they have failed to even get themselves a base runner in this game. A little bit of deja vu from last night. Bryce Studeville and the Otters return to the defensive side of things, trying to keep the Boulders at bay. They've given up base runners in both the first 2 innings, but all 3 runs and all 4 hits came in that first inning for the Boulders. We're going to see the 3-4-5 hitters due up for New York. Austin Dennis, Giovanni Garbella, and Francisco Del Valle. As the final warm-up pitch has been tossed, and we're ready to play baseball in the 3rd inning. Bryce Studeville trying to keep the Otters close in this one, and at least right now, keep the deficit at 3. Austin Dennis making his way to the plate now. Had a sacrifice fly RBI in his first at-bat. Batting right at the 300 level on the season. First pitch home is sent out towards left field. Baez will step back about 2.5 feet for out number one. A quick one pitch, one out for Studeville.
Designated hitter, 38, Giovanni Garbella.
So that'll bring up the DH, Giovanni Garbella. Flew out to left his first time up. In fact, he is one of just 4 Boulders who have failed to reach base already in this game. Has a swinging strike one to the low outside corner to kick off his at-bat. Otters have one more game with the Boulders here tomorrow night before welcoming Tri-City to town this weekend. 0-1 results in a called strike at the elbows for Garbella. He'll have to fight for behind now. After that 3-game set against Tri-City, the Otters head on the road next week for a 3-game set at Lake Erie. 0-2 bounces in, and Garbella is able to lay off for ball 1. Really was impressed in that second inning with what we saw from Studeville, especially on that 0-2 or 1-2 pitch, trying to get a man to chase. Ended up driving 2 German-American Bank strikeouts in the half inning as well. Both of his 2-strike pitches in this at-bat have bounced in on the outside area. Studeville hails from Lockport, Indiana. Maybe 40 minutes from here or so to our east. He then played for the University of Southern Indiana for 4 years, and now here he is playing for the local team, the Evansville Otters. 2-2 is sent right back up the middle, down for a base hit. Shallow center field's where it lands, and it's a 1-out knock for Giovanni Garbella.
31, right fielder, Francisco Del Valle.
Francisco Del Valle, who had a RBI double in the first inning, now makes his second appearance already here in the 3rd inning. He's got a runner on first in front of him. 1 out's up on the board. Del Valle did not start yesterday, but had a pinch hitting opportunity, which he struck out in. Starts off with ball 1 on the outside edge. Very small lead over there at first for Giovanni Garbella. Garbella now expanding the lead as the 1-0 makes its way home. Valle fouls it hard off the netting over the top of the Otters dugout over there. So that takes the count to 1-1. Studeville trying to keep this game right where it's at. A 1-1 on the way home. Stays low, ball 2. Still a runner on first and 1 out. Want to start taking a look through the Frontier League scoreboard today. So we already have 2 games in the books. A 2-1 coming home. Lifted high and shallow in the infield. Viola will bring it in for out number 2. The runner will not advance, and it's a good out for this Otter squad. So earlier this morning, the Joliet Slammers defeated the Tri-City Valley Cats on a walk-off 2-run home run in the 10th inning to give Joliet that win. And Schaumburg grabbed a walk-off 7-6 win against New Jersey as well this morning. Washington currently leads Ottawa 3-2 on the road in the top of the 7th inning. And in the bottom of the 6th, Florence leading Empire State 5-2. First pitch swinging strike for Gabriel Garcia as immediately Studeville gets himself ahead in the count 0-1. Couple more scores around the Frontier League for you. Trois-Rivières leading Windy City 3-1. That game taking place there in the province of Quebec. They're in the bottom of the 4th right now. Sussex County and Gateway scoreless in the 3rd inning. An 0-1 to Garcia stays high and inside and evens the count up. Watch out, Lake Erie once again with a big performance up there at Quebec. The Crushers are up 6-1. They won last night's game 6-1, and they're looking to win the series with a win tonight. Boy, would that be a big confidence booster for that Lake Erie squad. 1-1 coming home to Garcia, and it stays outside for ball 2. There's 2 outs, runner at first. As we sit here at the top of the 3rd inning, nearing closer and closer to 1 hour played in this contest. A 2-1 towards Garcia. Swung on and missed high and inside. Both of his swinging strikes have been up in there. Defense is set up straight up pretty much all the way around. The only one playing a little bit off straight up is Jones there at second, who's maybe 2 or 3 steps closer to second. So there's a huge gap on the right side. 2-2 is laced into left field, down for a base hit in front of Baez. And there are 2 men on with 2 outs for New York. And they have already upped their hit counter to 6 in this game.
The usual only strikeout out of the game at first base, number 9, Chris Quitzer.
So the first baseman, Chris Quitzer, makes his way to the plate. 0 for 1 already, as he had a soft grounder right back up the middle in that first inning. It was picked up by Felix and fired down to first for the final out. Ended a 3-run, 4-hit first inning for the Boulders. Studeville nods towards his catcher as the first pitch comes home to Quitzer. Curveball catches the elbows. So they won't really hold anyone close now. The defense returns to their straight up positioning all the way around, just trying to grab this last out of the half inning. An 0-1 for Chris Quitzer. Launched out towards center field. Miles Gordon chasing back towards the wall, at the wall, climbs the wall, and it's gone. 3 runs are going to score for New York on a 3-run home run to almost dead center field by Chris Quitzer, and the lead is doubled here in the 3rd. Not at all what the Otters wanted or needed in this one. And they have seen the New York advantage grow even further now.
Catcher,
Admittedly, Miles Gordon got a little bit of a late break on that ball, but it would not end up mattering. He tried to climb the wall. No luck for him. 2 outs, now nobody on. John Martinelli makes his way to the plate. First pitch is low and outside for ball 1. And as we say all this, a man looks like he is going to start warming for the Otters out in right field, or at least it started to look like that. I saw Steve Pastor and the new guy, Kevin Davis, both hop up and take off their warm-up jackets, but I don't know if either is actually warming yet. Studeville has the count evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike. As the pitch fires home and stays a bit outside, ball 2. Defense playing the pole a little bit against John Martinelli as the 2-1 makes its way home and again is outside, ball 3. Studeville's been very consistent when he's missing there to the outside. Breeze continues to just barely push that flag out towards right center field. As a 3-1 approaches Martinelli, he puts it high and foul right back behind home plate. Gets out of play, and the count goes to full with 2 outs. I do see a catcher in gear down there in the right field bullpen now. Just put the chest protector and helmet on, so we might see someone start warming up any second now. Full count pitch is sent out towards center field. Miles Gordon will chase in, bring it in for out number 3. but not before 3 more runs scored for New York on a 3-run bomb by Chris Quitzer. We've played 2.5. It's New York 6, Evansville 0. A 3-run home run from Chris Quitzer has doubled the lead for the Boulders as they carry a 6-run advantage into the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Meanwhile, Evansville still searching for their first base runner of the game. It'll be the bottom 3 of George Khalil, Justin Felix, and Tyler Dones who look to do it here in the 3rd inning. It's been 6 up, 6 down for the Otters. They saw a lot of this last night as well, as in last night's game, the first 11 Otters were sat down in order.
Leading off the 3rd, batting 7th, the shortstop 28, George Khalil.
George Khalil making his way to the dish now. On the season, carrying in a .237 average, .364 on base percentage. First pitch is home for a called strike at the knees to kick off the at-bat for George Khalil. Ball lifted up towards shallow left. Chasing in is Vinsky in shallow left center field, and he brings it in for out number 1. Another very quick out for the Otters, as the starter Andy Hammond has picked up 7 outs on just 19 pitches. In fact, he did that whole 2nd inning in just 6 pitches. 3 of those were to the last hitter, Joy Viola. The other 3 got both of the first 2 outs. Justin Felix, the catcher, makes his way to the plate now. He set up a run last night with a double in the 5th inning. He was brought home by Tyler Dones' RBI single. First pitch to him here stays low and inside for ball 1. Defense straight up for the catcher, Justin Felix, who has the 1-0 head his way and fall in for a called strike 1 on the inside edge. Otters closing in on the back 3rd of their season already. Still sitting in the 2nd spot in this West Division. Pitch high and inside is just barely avoided by Felix as he takes a 2-1 lead in the count. A little wait for Felix to get himself back into the box. As a 2-1 makes its way home towards him from the pitcher, Andy Hammond. But first time is going to be called by Felix. He just wasn't happy with the amount of time standing there at the plate. Defense straight up all the way around for Justin Felix as the 2-1 comes home towards him, and he puts it into left field, down for a base hit. The first one of the game for the Otters. I tell you what, Justin Felix has really fallen into the most consistent Otter in these last couple of weeks. In fact, in his last 10 games, Justin Felix has himself a .381 batting average, 4 extra base hits in his 9 total hits.
Batting ninth and second base number 18, Tyler Jones.
So one of the new men, Tyler Jones, makes his way to the plate. In his first professional game last night, he got his first professional hit. It was good for an RBI, brought home the man over there at first now, Justin Felix. First pitch home for Tyler Jones is zoomed down the right field line, but just foul. My goodness, that was hit with authority, but stayed just a hair foul. Ended up maybe 10 feet to the foul line. So Jones is down in the count 0-1. There's 1 out and a runner on first. The 0-1 on the way. It's bouncing towards the second baseman, Mckenzie, who goes to second for 1. There will not be a play at first. Felix did not beat the play to second, and because of it, it's a fielder's choice 4-6 official. So Jones is going to reach first. There's now 2 outs, and the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, will make his way to the plate. Gordon flew out to left field his first time up. That kicked off the Otters' half of things. First pitch home to Miles Gordon from Andy Hammond is strike 1, almost right down the middle. Trying to get a lead over there at first is Tyler Jones. The throw over was close, but not close enough. Jones is back in time. Jones has, every time he's been on base, had himself a very healthy lead over there at first. The 0-1 for Miles Gordon. Again, they're going to go try at Jones at first. Another good throw, and once again, Jones is back safely. No balls, 1 strike to Miles Gordon. Pitch coming home. Stays low, and the count's evened up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Still 2 outs. Otters had a lot of rain overnight here at historic Bosse Field, but tarp came off first thing this morning, and the sun helped dry things out here. In line for a beautiful night of baseball. Another try over to Jones, who was caught on bad footing, but luckily for him, the throw was high, so he was back in plenty of time. One ball, 1 strike for the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, with 2 outs and a runner on first. 1-1 stays low and outside, and Gordon's going to take it. Another lead in the count. Evansville really needs to find a way to win a lot of these games this week against both New York and Tri-City, as they'd like to A, get closer to Washington atop the West Division standings, and B, like to keep the distance between them and Schaumburg in third. A 2-1 to Miles Gordon, headed home from Hammond. That stays outside for ball 3. Catcher Martellini tried to bring it a little bit closer, but was unable to. Gordon steps in, ahead in the count 3-1. 2 outs, runner at first. Otters just trying to do something in this game offensively. The 3-1. There goes the runner. It's over the second baseman's head. Rounding second is going to be Jones, and there will be runners at the corners for the Otters after a hard hit single from Miles Gordon. Put that ball on a rope on the hit and run by Jones. The Otters now have a man in scoring position as Big Hit Mac makes his way to the plate. In the grand scheme of things, 1 run doesn't seem like much for the Otters, but it would break the ice and get them that much closer in this game. Could be huge for them. In last night's game, Elijah Mcnamee went 1 for 3 with a double in the 7th inning. He scored on a wild pitch later. He did change his walk-up music yesterday. I wonder if maybe that could have to play any part of the mentality. A glance over to first by the pitcher Hammonds as Gordon gets himself a good lead over there. Gordon, one of the Otters, rocking the high stirrups this evening. They'll go check on him at first. He's back in time, however. This is a dangerous place to do that, checking on your runners, because if a ball gets past your first baseman, not only does that runner at first usually get extra bases, but in this case, Jones would score from third. First pitch home to Mcnamee. Zoomed to the left side, but it stays foul into the bullpen of New York. Again, if you missed it earlier, Brandon Spivak is the man calling balls and strikes behind the plate this evening. Matt Beaver is the umpire on the left side of the infield. Craig Sparks on the right side of the infield. The 0-1 is first sent over to first, and it bounces off of Gordon. He's going to come up hurting a little bit, but because it gets past, Jones is going to score from third, and the Otters get their first run of the game. Not the way they'd prefer. Miles Gordon asked for some time to walk that one off. It actually hit him, looked like in the tailbone. See if maybe Mandy Flake makes the jog out there. It doesn't seem like she will, as Gordon seemed to wave her off. That's what I mentioned. You got to be careful throwing over there to first, because if something happens, not only was the run going to score there, but you're lucky that ball hit Gordon and didn't allow Gordon to reach second or potentially third. The 0-1 to Elijah Mcnamee. Pushed out to the right side, will stay foul, however, out of play.
The Red Ball brought to you by Hex Construction. Choose the best. Never regret it.
In the grand scheme of things, Otters still have a lot of work to do. But it definitely feels good to have themselves a run on the board. Mcnamee looking at an 0-2 count, trying to avoid his second strikeout of the day. The 0-2 on the way towards him. Put right back up the middle into the glove of Hammond. He'll throw over to first in plenty of time, and the third inning ends, but not before the Otters score a run on an error on the pitcher. We've played through 3. Evansville currently trailing in this one, 6-1. Want to remind you that Evansville Otters Baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers. 9-hole hitter, center fielder Max Smith makes his way to the plate to kick off this fourth inning. His first appearance was a walk in the second. He ended up being stranded at first. Bryce Studeville returns to the mound for the Otters here in the fourth inning, trying to keep this New York team at bay. Starts off with a called strike here in this at. The 0-1 for Smith. Misses outside, ball one, count evened up. Studeville's given up 6 runs on 7 hits. Looking to give his Otters a chance to get back in this one. And a called strike 2 has him ahead in the count 1-2. Defense playing straight up for Max Smith. As a potential payoff pitch here for Studeville. Results in a check swing, ball 2, which evens the count up. I've said it a couple times in the broadcast, but I'll mention it again. Like always, they hose down the field before the game, but this infield has really sucked onto that water, and it stayed fairly damp out there around the infield tonight. A 2-2 on the way home. Swinging strike 3. And Bryce Studeville has himself his third German-American bank strikeout on the day. Good way to start this half inning. Jake Mckenzie makes his way back to the plate. 1 for 2 on the day. A single in the first, strikeout in the second. First pitch home, falls in for a called strike on the outside edge, or inside edge. And an 0-1. Lit out towards center field, down for a base hit in front of Miles Gordon. Good contact there for Mckenzie just to lay one down in center.
Left fielder, 27, David Vinsky.
So it's now a 2 for 3 day for Jake Mckenzie, and that'll bring up the left fielder David Vinsky. 1 for 2 on the day as well, a single and a strikeout to his name. Defense now set up for the double play all the way around the infield. First pitch to Vinsky. Falls low and outside, ball 1. Good crowd this evening as the Otters are celebrating a Senior Connection Wednesday with sponsors Astound and our friends from Community One, big here for Love Your Neighborhood. A 1-0 on the way to Vinsky. Chopped right back over the top of things.
Ball was brought to you by Heads Construction.
For a strike, count evens up. New York leads the game 6-1. They've got a runner up first and just 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. 1-1 pitch on the way to Vinsky. Pushed out towards right field. It's going to be down for a base hit. Mcnamee will barehand it and keep it to a single. But the runner, Jake Mckenzie, goes all the way first to third, and there's runners on the corners now with just 1 out.
Shortstop number 7, Austin Dennis.
He decided from the get-go he was going to third, and because of it, it set up Austin Dennis with an RBI opportunity. He already has one of those tonight. And a sac fly RBI back in the first. Worst case scenario for the Otters would be to score a run and then come back and give one right back up and have to put in some more work to get yourself back into this. First pitch is a swinging strike 1. An 0-1 to Austin Dennis. Runners on the corners, one out. It bounces in for ball one. Counts even. Chance the Otters could see rain here at Bosse Field tomorrow yet again. See how that goes as the day progresses. A 1-1 pushed out towards right field. Mcnamee chasing after it towards the warning track, brings it in for out number 2. The long throw in will not be in time for either runner, and it's another sac fly RBI for Austin Dennis. This one to deep right center. And again, both runners advance on it.
Designated hitter, 38, Giovanni Garbella.
That will bring up the 4-spot hitter, Giovanni Garbella, who's 1 for 2. A single and a flyout, as New York has now retaken their 6-run lead. First pitch stays low, ball 1 for Bryce Studeville up there. Runner at second now, 2 outs. Studeville looks to just close out this inning and limit the damage now. A 1-0 to Garbella. Stays high for ball 2. The breeze has now died down here at Bosse Field. Flag laying flush against the flagpole at this point. 2-0 to Garbella. High and inside. And for the third time tonight, Bryce finds himself back in the count 3-0. Defense is playing with a slight shift towards the left side. Big gap between first and second over there. 3-0 to Garbella. High and inside yet again. It's a 4-pitch walk that has now runners at first and second.
Right fielder, 31, Francisco Del Valle.
That will get a man up in the bullpen now for Evansville. Looks like it's going to be Steve Pastora who starts the throw. Pastora was activated from the injured list just a few days ago. To be exact, the move was made on the 21st. And it looks like we're going to get an opportunity to see him once again. First pitch home to Del Valle is a called strike 1. A good pitch there from Studeville to get himself ahead in the count. Defense plays straight up all the way around as the 0-1 comes home to Del Valle. Bounces in, great stop by Felix. I don't know if, it kind of depends on who's listening, of course. I know we've got a lot of listeners from New York, but if we have Evansville fans out there who are listening, I think it was just about 4 weeks ago. It was part of the 9-game winning streak towards the beginning. I mentioned that Billy Easley, the catcher coach for this Otters team, took all of his catchers aside and had pass ball training with them, was not going to allow them to let balls get passed. Since that training, which took place in that last week of June to be exact, the Otters have had exactly 1 pass ball against them. Other than that, they have done very well to lock up not letting things get passed. And I talked with Billy a little bit during today's batting practice. I'm like, I haven't seen any of those recently. He's like, I know, I was frustrated with them. I got on my catchers and they changed things. They got themselves more mobile behind the plate, and it's resulted in less free passes for some of these base runners out there. 1-2 is the count for Del Valle. Studeville stepped off and tried to keep the runner close at second. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Game moving a little slower than it was yesterday. 1-2, sent right back up the middle, down for a base hit. A runner's going to round third. He's going to score easily on the RBI single. The throwback to second is not in time as Garbella took a little bit of an extra rounding. But Vinsky's going to score on the RBI single from Francisco Del Valle. It's the second RBI base hit for Del Valle on the day.
Third baseman, 34, Gabriel Garcia.
And that is going to spark a meeting at the bump for the pitching coach, Max Peterson. And he is going to go ahead and make a pitching change. We'll let you know who it is for the Otters right after this. Top of the fourth inning. Bryce Studeville's day has come to an end. We'll let you know his current line and who's coming in for him right after this. As New York leads 8-1 on the Otters Digital Network and Pro Sports. Steve Pastore going to make an appearance as a relief pitcher this evening. In his first season in professional ball in a couple of years after having to rehab a couple of injuries. He's made 2 starts this year. Officially, he's 0-1 with a 12.71 ERA. Those 2 starts have not been favorable for him. In fact, in both of them, Ryan O'Reilly had to come in early to help keep things close. So we'll see what can be done by Steve Pastore this evening to help out his teammate Bryce Studeville, who's unable to get through the 4th inning in this one. Gabriel Garcia will make his way to the plate. He'll be the one to start the day for Steve Pastore. Pastore's last professional season came a couple of years ago with the Rocky Mountain Vibes. Before that, the Wichita Wingnuts. First pitch home to Gabriel Garcia is left alone for ball 1 on the low outside corner. There's runners at first and second. They're both credited to Bryce Studeville, of course. And there's 2 outs. Studeville ready to go on the 1-0. Fires home towards Gabriel Garcia. Nice pitch there, but it rose a little too much. Stayed high and outside, ball 2. Pastore got good movement on it, kind of worked its way back towards the strike zone after working towards the outside edge, but didn't do quite enough. The 2-0 for Garcia. Pushed foul to the right side, will get well out of play. And Pastore has his first official strike on the
All right, now all brought to you by Heads Construction. Thank you, Big Red. Choose the best and never regret it.
2 balls, 1 strike. Otters just need 1 out to get themselves out of this half inning. The 2-1. Fouled right back into the netting. That's an important strike for the Otters to get. Out at second is Giovanni Garbella. At first, Francisco Del Valle. There's 2 outs on the board and a 7-run buffer between New York and Evansville. Pastora ready to go on the 2-2. Skied high in the infield. Chasing in is Tyler Dones to the right side, but now it's actually Biermann who will bring it in for out number 3, but not before another couple of runs score for New York. They now take an 8-1 lead as we head to the bottom half of the 4th here from historic Bosse Field. To the bottom half of the 4th we go. Steven Sinsley, Jeffrey Baez, and Zach Biermann 2 up as Evansville looks to cut into this big advantage for New York, which has been strengthened to 8-1 now after 2 more runs in the top of the 4th. Another big shift activated for Steven Sinsley. 3 infielders to the far side of the right side of the infield. Cranks one down the right field line. It will end up in the right field picnic area or just outside of it. The right fielder, Del Valle, will have to chase down and go grab it. Yesterday, we saw Steven Sinsley bunt against this shift to the left side, and because of it, Garcia has now played him much more conservatively there between second and third. The 0-1. Sinsley swings and misses at a high strike, too. Baez and Biermann, the other 2 would do up in this half inning. A lot of power between these 3 if they can make contact with the ball. The 0-2 to Sinsley. Stays high. He lays off for ball 1. Sinsley has gotten very good at laying off on his 0-2 pitches because quite often they are out of the zone. The 1-2. Swinging strike 3 on a pitch high and outside. Sinsley thinks about slamming the bat, but is able to calm the urge and walk his way back to the dugout, very frustrated after another unsuccessful at-bat for him. It's the second strikeout of the day for Andy Hammond. And it takes us to Jeffrey Baez, the left fielder, who's 0 for 1 on the day. First pitch to Baez is a called strike one on the inside corner where he turned away from it, hoping to get a ball call, but because he does hug the plate just a little bit, it appears it could be a ball, but it's actually a strike. No one is sitting down the right field line. Well foul, however. It's going to get out of play for strike two. Asking for a new ball is Andy Hammond. They'll toss him out a new one. Last one might have been scuffed or something. As we're now ready for the 0-2 for Jeffrey Baez. One out, nobody on here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. Pitch is headed home to Baez. Swinging strike three on a high pitch. And it's back-to-back strikeouts for Andy Hammond. That will bring up Zach Biermann, the first baseman, with nobody on and 2 outs. Biermann hit his first home run in 22 days last night with a rocket off the bat last night. Came off the bat at 107 mile an hour. Went about 400 feet to right field. He'll take a pitch high and inside ball one to kick off this at-bat. The 1-0 to Zach Biermann here in the bottom half of the fourth inning is low for ball two. Biermann's got the bases empty in front of him. 2 outs already on the board. Otters have not made it easy on each other to grab running opportunities, except for the bottom pieces of the order that have set themselves up for some success back-to-back nights. We've seen Justin Felix and Tyler Dones help set each other up to get a man scoring. Foul ball to the third base side has Biermann still ahead in the count 2-1. Pitch comes home from Andy Hammond, who's already struck out 2 here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. It's a called strike 2 on the outside edge, and the deuces are wild for Zach Biermann. A chance for Hammond to strike out the side here as the 2-2 pitch comes home to Zach Biermann. Zoom down the right field line, but foul yet again. Biermann just a little bit ahead of that one. But it is nice to see Zach Biermann making solid contact. We'll try again on the 2-2 to Zach Biermann. Ball stays high for ball 3, and it's a full count with 2 outs for Zach Biermann. Close pitch there, a hard one to lay off for sure. So now it's a true payoff pitch for Andy Hammond against Zach Biermann. Stays high, ball 4. Biermann's going to earn himself a free base here in the bottom half of the fourth. Just the 4th base runner for the Otters this evening. 2 have come on singles. The other 2 on fielder's choice and now walk. Troy Viola makes his way to the plate for his 2nd professional at-bat. Had a hard ground out to the third baseman his first time up. First pitch home to Troy Viola. Hefty swinging strike 1 on a high inside pitch. Viola concluded his collegiate career this year at Purdue. This season he had a .321 average for the Boilermakers, including 63 hits, 8 of them, 4 home runs. He takes the pitch high and inside. It's a hit by pitch, and that is how he will earn his very first career on-base opportunity. There's now runners at first and second, both on free passes. One on the walk, one on the hit by pitch. And it brings up the shortstop, George Khalil, who's 0 for 1 with a fly out to left so far in the game. Defense will continue to be set up straight up all the way around as George Khalil looks to get back on his positive streak. The last 10 games, Khalil is batting 100, 3 for his last 30. First pitch to George Khalil. Low outside, ball 1. Boy, would this be a great time for Khalil to break out of that slump. The Otters have loved his play at shortstop outside of the couple of games at Sussex County where he did struggle on a couple of plays. He has been rock solid defensively in the last 15, 20 games, especially when paired with Andy Armstrong at second. Now the Otters will ask him to find a little offensive power here. If he can find a way on base, it sets up Justin Felix, who has been the hottest Otter in the last 10 games. The 1-0 to George Khalil is on the way now. Swinging strike 1 has even the count up at 1 ball, 1 strike. That is a hefty swing from the shortstop, George Khalil. And our wonderful Otters Digital Network camera crew showing you what it looks like here at beautiful historic Bosse Field. See some folks out there on the Corona patio deck this evening. That could be you tomorrow, by the way. Give our front office a call. They can hook you up for a night to bring out maybe the family, maybe the friends, maybe the co-workers even. Corona patio deck, great place to watch a game. It includes an all-you-can-eat menu, including all-you-can-drink soda and water there as well. You can have your own personal bar out there if you prefer beer. 2-1, the count for George Khalil. Hit hard towards the shortstop, Dennis. He'll play it on 2 hops. The throw to first in time, and the Otters will get 2 on with 2 outs, but cannot do anything with them. We've played through 4 completes. It's all New York in this one. 8-1. Boulders still lead. We head to the 5th inning in this ball game, right at the 1 hour, 30-minute mark in tonight's contest. Moving a little bit slower than we did last night, but that's because of the offensive power we've seen from New York. They've put up 8 runs in this game already, and they've done it on 10 hits. Steve Pastora came in relief in the last half inning for Evansville. He's going to be the one to return on the mound for Evansville as we head to the 5th inning. They'll face Chris Quitzer, John Martellini, and Max Smith in the half inning. Quitzer's last time up was a 3-run home run in the 3rd that really put this game out of the reach of the Otters. We will see what he can do this time. Now with nobody on and nobody out to kick off this 5th inning.
Leading off,
Want to give a couple updates from around the Frontier League. Washington's about to close out a 5-2 win at Ottawa. They're currently in the bottom of the 9th right now. And Ottawa has a man on with nobody out. See what they can do with that. Chris Quitzer ready at the plate, and Pastor is going to give him his first offering of the inning. Launched out to left center field. Baez and Gordon chasing towards it. Gordon will plant underneath it for out number 1. A 1-pitch, 1-out scenario here to start off the 5th inning for the Otters. That will bring up John Martellini, who has flew out twice in this game, both to straight center field. In the top of the 8th inning, the Florence Y'alls holding a 9-2 lead against Empire State. Last night, Florence won that game 21-4. And tonight it looks like Florence can make it 2 straight. First pitch to Martellini. Big curveball. Stays high and inside, ball 1. In the bottom of the 7th inning at Trois Rivières, the Eagles have a 4-1 lead against Windy City. And in the bottom of the 5th, Lake Erie holding on to a 6-2 lead at Quebec. Could be a big week for the Crushers. High inside fastball. Rides close to Martellini, and they're going to say, yes, he did go, as they check down with the first base umpire, Sparks, who says, yes, he did. And because of it, the count evens up at 1-1. Martellini wasn't happy at all with the fact that was a call or a swinging strike. He thought for sure he had held up. But first base umpire Craig Sparks says no, he did not. The count evens up at 1-1 strike. Steve Pastora fires home on the 1-1. Sent sharply towards the left side. Khalil. Off balance throw is not quite in time, as Biermann was unable to snag it as it was coming in very slow. And it will be an infield single for Martellini.
Center fielder, number 5, Max Smith.
Tough play for Khalil, and it would have been another one in the highlight reel if Biermann was able to quickly grab it. He's frustrated with himself over there at first. So with 1 out and a runner at first, the Otters take to double play positioning, which, by the way, the Otters have turned the most double plays in the league, 54. First pitch to Max Smith. It's on the outside edge for a called strike. If you do your math right, you'll see that the Otters almost have a double play per game. Astounding the work this defensive group has done. A lot of the time it's because of the chemistry between George Khalil and Andy Armstrong out there at second and third. An 0-1 to the 9-hole hitter, center fielder Max Smith. High and outside. Ball 1 evens the count up. In the top of the 5th inning, Sussex County is holding on to a 1-0 lead at Gateway. Miners looking to clinch the series tonight. 1-1 to Smith. Sent out towards right field. Mcnamee chasing back to the wall at the warning track, and he brings it in for out number 2. Hard hit ball, but not quite hard enough. Had the breeze that had been here earlier in the game stuck around, it might have carried that ball out of here. But instead, the game will remain at 8-1. The runner will remain at first. And we will head back to the top of the order where Jake Mckenzie heads to the plate. He's 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a strikeout in the game. There are already 3 different Boulders with multi-hit games. We're just starting the 4th round through the lineup. First pitch is way inside, ball 1. In fact, there is just one Boulder who has yet to reach base safely. That's Austin Dennis, who has 2 sack fly RBIs, so he's had a successful day too. 1-0 to Jake Mckenzie, who's a called strike that evens the count up. Otters are in town all week long. If you can't join us in person, join us here on the Otters Digital Network, 100% free on our YouTube page or at Flow Sports to watch every play of the rest of the week. The 1-1 to Jake Mckenzie. Outside, ball 2. And Pastora falls behind in the count. Small lead over at first for John Martellini. As the 2-1 again stays outside. Pastora's now down on the count 3-1. If need be, David Vinsky's on deck, and he is one of the league's best at driving runners in. The 3-1 to Jake Mckenzie is a called strike at the knees, just barely sneaks in for strike 2. And there's now a full count with 2 outs. The runner will be in motion now. The 3-2 to Mckenzie. Up high, ball 4, and there's runners at first and second now. Including now of course, runner in scoring position as one of the league's best at bringing runners in, heads to the plate. David Vinsky, 2 for 3 on the day, a couple of singles, a couple of runs scored.
27, David Vinsky.
Vinsky has 55 RBIs to his name. That's 4th most in the Frontier League. The righty steps in and is ready for his first pitch from Steve Pastora. First pitch to Vinsky. It's a called strike on the outside edge. Forgot to mention at the beginning of this half inning, final line for Bryce Studable. 3 2/3 innings, gives up 8 runs on 10 hits. Had 2 walks allowed, 3 strikeouts for him. Tough outing for the local guy. The 0-1 to David Vinsky is a called strike 2 on the outside edge. Big chance for Pastora to get out of this little jam. Pastora taking his time, looking into his catcher, Justin Felix. Nods home. And here comes the 0-2 pitch to David Vinsky. Zoom to the left side, through for a base hit. They're going to keep the runner at third and not test the arm of Jeffrey Baez. Because of it, the bases are now loaded with 2 outs. Vinsky's now 3 for 4 on the day.
Shortstop, number 7, Austin Dennis.
That will bring up Austin Dennis, who already has a couple of RBIs on the day, both of them via the sacrifice fly RBI. One went to mid-deep left center field, the other one to deep right center field. In fact, it was only a few feet short of a multi-run home run. First pitch to Austin Dennis with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Swinging strike 1 on a high inside pitch. He swung hard at that one. Eight 1 the lead for the New York Boulders here in the top half of the 5th inning. Long wait for Pastora. Finally has his pitch decision. And the 0-1 comes home to Dennis. Ends up in the opposite batter's box, and the count is evened up. There is a man warming up for the Boulders out in the left field pen. Although with these powder blue jerseys, it is a bit hard to tell who that is. The 1-1 for Austin Dennis is pushed foul to the right side, and he falls back in the count 1-2.
That overhead foul ball is brought to you by Heads Construction. Choose the best.
I believe it's Ryan Munoz throwing out there in the left field pen. But it also could be Mitchell Singer. It's either 33 or 35, just a bit hard to tell with those light red numbers on the powder blue jerseys. A 1-2 coming home to Austin Dennis, and it bounces in, evening the count up. Bases are loaded. There's 2 outs. Austin Dennis with a chance to add to his already multi-RBI game. Two balls, 2 strikes. Pastora retakes the mound, trying to escape this bases loaded jam. The 2-2 to Austin Dennis. Pushed foul again to the right side. We will live to see another pitch in this half inning.
That's construction. Choose the best, never regret.
2 balls, 2 strikes for Austin Dennis with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Pastora has himself ready on the 2-2. Called strike 3. Pastora ends the inning, and Austin Dennis cannot believe it. He immediately turns towards the home plate umpire, Brandon Spivak, and states a case for himself. He will make the walk back to the dugout. The bases are left loaded for New York. They still lead 8-1 as we head to the center point of the game, presented by Centerpoint. We're at the Centerpoint Energy center point of the game. And Evansville trails this one 8-1. They need to get the offense going quickly, and it'll have to start with Felix, Jones, and Gordon here at the top of the 5th inning. In that last half inning, the Otters got 2 men on with 2 outs, but could not bring either around. It's missed opportunities like that that have got to be fixed by the Otters if they want to win ball games. Justin Felix already 1 for 1 in this game with a hard hit single back in the 3rd. That was the Otters' first base hit of the game, but he was a part of a fielder's choice that had him out on the way to 2nd. That's why his jersey already red stained. First pitch home is a called strike 1 on the middle inside. Defense playing straight up for Justin Felix all the way around. Has an 0-1. Comes home to Felix way inside, nearly hit him. He just got out of the way in time, however, and his count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Don't forget that the Otters and Boulders do battle once again tomorrow night. Robbie Rowland on the mound for the Boulders. Brett Adcock, the kid, on the mound for the Otters tomorrow night. Big 1-1 falls in for a called strike 2. Nice pitch there from Andy Hammond to get himself back ahead in the count. First pitch tomorrow night is 6:35 p.m. on a Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by Edward Jones and Working Distributors. If you can't join us in person, join us here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. We'll have every pitch for you right here. 1-2 is in the opposite batter's box for ball 2. Count evens up. Justin Felix looking at a 2-2 count. He has certainly been the hottest Otter in the last 9 to 10 games, batting almost 400 in that span. 2-2 on the way for Felix. A half swing. It's a called strike 3 on the inside edge. He's punched out by home plate umpire Brandon Spivak. And it is the first Otter to go down looking tonight.
Number 18, Tyler Jones.
4 strikeouts now for Andy Hammond. So the Indiana product, Tyler Jones, now makes his way to the plate. Reached on a fielder's choice his first time up, came around to score on an error. Hits one right back up the middle. Dennis has to play it to his left side. The throw to first is accurate in time for out number 2. Tough play there for Dennis out there. Quickly 2 down, though, in the half inning. We head back to the top of the order with the Edward Joints leadoff hitter of the game. Miles Gordon makes his way to the plate. He's 1 for 2 with a single and a flyout so far. Heard that Miles Gordon has family in town. In fact, I believe his mother is celebrating a birthday. So from all of us here at the Evansville Otters, a happy birthday to her. And we're glad that you're enjoying a game here at historic Bosse Field. First pitch to Miles Gordon. Falls low for ball 1. Evansville, of course, playing New York in this 3-game set. Tri-City this weekend, and that will conclude their play against the East Division. They will then continue West Divisional play next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at Lake Erie. As a 1-0 falls in for a called strike 1, evening the count up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Count evened up, 1-1 for Gordon. Another curveball. That one stays a little bit outside for ball 2. Two outs, nobody on here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Evansville running out of time to chip at this lead. A high ball 3 has Miles Gordon well ahead in the count now. On the season, in scenarios like this, the Otters are down after 5 innings. They're 3-14 in those games. The 3-1 is a called strike 2 right at the elbows. Very similar pitch to the last one we just saw. And that one will take the count to full. The 3-2 to Miles Gordon. Zoomed into right field, down the right field line. It's going to drop for a base hit. Gordon's going to try to make it 2 bases. And it's misplayed by the right fielder Del Valle to give Gordon that second base.
Double-decker.
They're going to give him a Deerhead double-decker double because of the intention to go to second. The Otters have themselves a base runner with 2 outs for the second straight inning. Elijah Mcnamee making his way to the plate. Big chance for big hit Matt to potentially bring in a run and at least do something to this big New York lead. Mcnamee's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a fielder's choice so far in the game. First pitch home to Mcnamee is called strike, high inside corner near the elbows. Mcnamee will take his time to dig back in. Ready on the 0-1. Gordon's out there at second base. He's running towards third. The throw down to third is not in time, and Gordon has himself a stolen base. And with that, Gordon retakes his team lead in stolen base at 16. Here's a crazy figure for you. Even though he's got 16 stolen bases, he still has not caught up to Gary Mattis, who has not been on this team in a month and a half, who had 17 in the short time he was with the Otters. A 1-1 is swung on and missed by Mcnamee, and he falls back in the count. This is a huge chance for Big Hit Matt to grab an RBI, bring the Otters one run closer. His roommate, Miles Gordon, just 90 feet away at third. The 1-2. Push to the right side. Chasing that way is Quitzer, and he will let it go as it ends up well out of play.
Big Red on his phone tells me that's another foul ball brought to you by Heads Construction. And don't run in that main tunnel. Choose the best. You never regret it. We thank you for your cooperation. Taking it slow and on course.
The 1-2 for Elijah Mcnamee with a runner at third and 2 outs. Another big chance for the Otters to grab runs, even though it's not a ton in the grand scheme of things. You've got to find a way to chip at this lead, and these are the opportunities you got to take advantage of. A 1-2 for Mcnamee, high and inside. Here comes Gordon from third. He'll score easily, and it's the second time the Otters have scored a run on a misplay by New York. Wouldn't be surprised if we see that one as a pass ball. Actually, it's going to be a wild pitch. Must have stayed a bit too high for the scorer's likings. So one of the Otters runs scored on an error, the other one now on a wild pitch. And now this pressure has been taken off Mcnamee a bit. Another big curveball ends up inside. The count's full at 3-2. Otters trying to chip away at a big New York lead. A 3-2 to Mcnamee. He's caught chasing for a swinging strike 3. We've played through 5 full innings. It's New York 8, Evansville 2, here on the Otters Digital Network.
Thursday.
Evansville Otters baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports is presented by Old National Bank, your bank for Evansville, your bank for life. Otters are able to grab one more run in that bottom half of the 5th inning. Still trail by 6. Steve Pastor is going to look to keep this game where it's at. An 8-2 advantage in favor of the Boulders. Long wait for the opening pitch of this half inning. That's on the way. A swinging strike 1 by Giovanni Garbella, who on the day is 1 for 2. A single, a flyout, and a walk to his name. He'll be followed by Francisco Valle and Gabriel Garcia here in the half inning. The 0-1 to Garbella. Low and outside, count evened up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody warming up for either squad now. Both bullpens vacant. There's a 1-1. Comes home to Garbella, high and inside. Garbella will take the lead in the count, 2-1. As for this New York squad, they're trying to even this set up at 1 game apiece. Hard hit ball towards Khalil at short. He'll play it off the ground. The throw to first in time and accurate this time for Biermann to stomp on first for the first out of the inning. It brings up Francisco Del Valle, who is 2 for 3 on the game. An RBI single, an RBI double, and a pop out so far in this game. And now it looks like a arm is going to start to warm up once again for the Boulders out in left field. Del Valle is able to lay off the first pitch for ball 1, or sorry, strike. I believe it's ball 1 on the inside. A 1-0 making its way home. Catches the high outside corner. The count's evened up at 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 for Del Valle. Way outside ball 2, but Del Valle is going to snag a lead here in the count. A 2-1 to Francisco Del Valle is taken high and in for ball 3. Big lead in the count now. Del Valle staying patient at the plate, earning himself a couple of extra balls. The 3-1. Called strike 2 has him at a full count now. He's not a huge fan of that count, or that call. Big chance for Pastora to grab a very important out. Can't be giving up base runners in times like this. A 3-2 results in a walk, hard earned by Del Valle, and it is his 3rd time on base in the game. Brings up Gabriel Garcia,
Third baseman,
who is 2 for 3 with an RBI single, a second single, a run scored, and a pop out so far in the game. This is the New York team that really scared me coming into this series. The one that can put up a lot of runs in a hurry and can do it both with extra base hits, with the long ball, with the consistent single, or single walk, single. And they have proven to Evansville why they are the caliber of team they are. The problem is a lot of the time the starting pitching for New York has let them down. They have not done such in this series, though. I'm going to go check on the runner, Del Valle, over at first. He's back in time, however. We're here in the top half of the 6th inning. Still all New York in this one. The 1-0 works high and inside. Garcia's ahead in the count as well. Now a 2-0 advantage. Mentioned that I saw the Otters president, John Stanley, this evening. Also saw Otters owner Bill Bussing walking around the concourse earlier. Good to have all the senior management here at the game tonight. A 2-0 swinging strike 1 has brought Pastora a little bit closer. Of course, we've seen the Otters GM Travis Painter as well. He was one of the 5 dragging the infield that last half inning. Travis is lucky to get the official Otters polo on some nights with the amount of work he puts on this field. Sometimes he never even gets changed. He's usually still in his field attire, helping to keep this field beautiful. And he does a great job. This place looks very nice after the All-Star break. It needed a lot of TLC, and he gave it just that. Called strike 2 as the count evened up at 2-2 for Gabriel Garcia. This is another big opportunity for Steve Pastora. Pick up an important out. The 2-2 headed home for Garcia. The runner's on the way. It's popped up. Chasing over is Biermann in foul territory. He brings it in for out number 2. They will not be able to go back to first, and it's just going to be the 1 out. So that's a big out for this Otters team. It now brings up the first baseman, Chris Quitzer, who is 1 for 3 at a fielder's choice in the first, a 3-run home run in the third, and a fly out to center his last time up. Quitzer has done it both offensively and defensively this series. Of course, the 3-run home run today helped put this game out of the way for New York. Had a nice defensive play at first last night to kind of climb the ladder, keep a pitch manageable or a throw manageable to grab an out over there at first. (0-1) the count to Chris Quitzer. And Pastora fires home. Stays low and inside. The count's evened up now. Want to take another look at some of these scores around the Frontier League. We've seen Washington get beat in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ottawa puts together a 4-run bottom of the 9th, comes from behind to defeat the Wild Things. A huge break for Evansville. 1-1 launched out to right field. Mcnamee is going to let it go, and it is gone. 2 more runs for New York on a no-doubt home run from Chris Quitzer, his 2nd home run of the ballgame. This is what scared you about this New York team. Out of nowhere, they can really turn it up, and they have now scored 10 runs in the game.
Catcher, number 10, John Martellini.
So the catcher, John Martellini, will make his way to the plate. Looks like Ottawa turned 3 straight singles from a 5-2 game into a 6-5 win for them. And looks like an error on the right fielder aided in things to get the job done. That is a big come-from-behind win for the Titans there at home. It does a lot of help as well for the Otters, as they will, even with a loss tonight to New York, as it looks like could happen, they will stay just 3 games back of the West Division leading Washington Wild Things. Florence went on to win 9-2 over the Empire State Grays there in northern Kentucky. 0-2 falls low and outside on Martellini for ball 1, 1-2 the count now. In the top of the 9th, Windy City about to fall 5-1 at Trois Rivières. The Thunderbolts are down to their last 2 outs with nobody on. A 1-2 to Martellini off the tip of the bat. Will stay 1-2. In the top of the 7th inning, Lake Erie is holding on to their 6-2 advantage at Quebec. If they can hold on 3 more innings, Lake Erie will have won the series at Quebec, and that is a huge series for Lake Erie. Keep an eye on that team, as the Otters are going to have to go to Lake Erie next week to face the Crushers Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sussex County and Gateway tied at 1 run apiece in the 7th inning. 1-2 is left alone on the high outside corner, evening the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Big time pitch for Steve Pastore to keep this game where it's at. He desperately needs it. The 2-2. Fouled off to the right side, and it remains
Ball brought to you by
2-2.
Heads Construction. Choose the best. Never regret it.
Nobody on, 2 outs, and a 2-2 count for John Martellini. The 2-2. Swinging strike 3. And a German-American bank strikeout ends the half inning, but not before a 2-run home run from Chris Quitzer has given New York an 8-run lead as we head to the bottom half of the 6th here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports.
Hey everybody, it's time.
Bottom of the 6th inning, and a new pitcher needed for the New York Boulders. Mitchell Singer will get the nod out of the bullpen. 6'6", 225 out of Boca Raton. Looking to keep this game right where it's at, a 10-2 advantage for the New York Boulders. Making this his 3rd appearance on the year as well. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Singer on the mound. Martellini behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East. Located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Otters will look to
Designated hitter.
keep trying to chip away in this game with Sinsley, Baez, and Biermann due up. The last time it was those 3 due up in the half inning, Sinsley and Baez both struck out. I'll look for a different opportunity here. It looks like there's a man warming up for Evansville in the right field pen right now. I believe it is Jake Polancic down there. Steven Sinsley ready for his 3rd opportunity on the day. A fly out to left and a strikeout to his name thus far. First pitch home is outside for ball 1. One ball, no strikes for Steven Sinsley. With nobody on and no outs. It's another ball outside for ball 2. It is Jake Polancic down there in the right field pen. Usually I can tell it right away by the height of Jake Polancic as he stands 6'3". But the new signing for the Otters, Kevin Davis, is the one manning the area down there to make sure his pitcher stays safe. And, well, you see, The new man, Kevin Davis, stands 6'9", so he towers over everybody down there. Ball up high results in ball 3 for Sinsley, way ahead in the count now, 3-0. The 3-0 works a bit inside and high for ball 4. 4 pitches. Gives Steven Sinsley a free base, his first walk and on-base opportunity of the day. Steven Sinsley now has 35 walks on the year. That's tied with Jeffrey Baez and J.R. Davis with the team high. Jeffrey Baez digging in with an 0-2 line. Fly out to center and a strikeout so far to his name. First pitch home is a called strike 1 right at the elbows. On the bright side, all the rain chances have been pushed far away. Otters are going to be able to not only get the full game in, but they might avoid rain all night long. An 0-1 to Baez is a called strike on the inside edge, and Baez did not look pleased with the call. Just went final at Trois Rivières. The Eagles win 5-1 against Windy City. Meanwhile, Sussex County has taken a 2-1 lead in the 7th at Gateway. 0-2 is swung on and missed on a low outside pitch for Baez. It's his second strikeout of the day. It's also the first strikeout for the new man, Mitchell Singer, on the line. Final line for New York Boulders starter, Andrew Hammond. He gave up 2 runs, only one of them earned on 3 hits. Across 5 full innings, he walked 1, struck out 5 through just 73 pitches in the appearance. First pitch to Biermann gets past the catcher Martellini, and Sinsley will round second and stay out there. 1 out, runner at second for Evansville as Zach Biermann stands at the plate. Just over 24 hours after his first home run in over 3 weeks. He crushed that ball last night. Would love to see him grab another. The 1-0 falls low for ball 2. Biermann takes a couple pitch lead. Two balls, no strikes now for Zach Biermann. He's got a runner at second and just 1 out on the board. 2-0 stays high. And all 7 pitches thrown so far in the inning by Mitchell Singer to at least Sinsley and Biermann have been balls. The only time he's found the strike zone was against Jeffrey Baez, a 3-pitch strikeout. The 3-0 to Zach Biermann. Called strike. Pretty much letter high right at the elbows. Three 3-1 now for Zach Biermann. It bounces in a bit, and Biermann's going to earn himself first base.
That's a Deerhead Sidewalk Cafe and Bar.
2 walks in the inning. Have runners at first and second now, with just 1 out. And the new man, Troy Viola, heading to the plate.
Third baseman, number 19, Troy Viola.
Viola is looking for his first professional base hit. Quick little mound visit there. And we're ready to go on the first pitch to Troy Viola. And stepping off is the pitcher Senger. First pitch home to Troy Viola off the edge of the bat to the right side, picked up by the first baseman Quitzer. He'll step on first for the fielder's choice, but both runners will advance. And the Otters now have 2 runners in scoring position with George Khalil headed to the plate. George Khalil flew out to left and grounded into a fielder's choice so far in the game. There's a meeting of the minds there between pitcher and catcher, just discussing through signs, and the home plate umpire Brandon Spivak says, yes, indeed, that was what was discussed. First pitch to Khalil. Comes in for a called strike with runners at second and third and 2 outs. Big time opportunity for George Khalil. Hefty swinging strike 2 has Khalil back in the count 2 now. And this is where we will see what Khalil can do. And stepping off was Mitchell Senger. Apparently a ball came in out of the Otters bullpen, and it resulted in a quick timeout. No balls, 2 strikes to George Khalil. Big time opportunity for the Australian to at least bring the Otters a little bit closer. High pitch is ball 1, and he's still behind the count 1-2. The 1-2 stays up high, and Khalil sees things even up at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to George Khalil. Hit hard towards Dennis at short. He'll play it off the ground. The throw across to first is just in time to retire Khalil, and neither run will be able to score. The Otters strand 2 here in the bottom half of the 6th, and through 6. It's New York 10, Evansville 2. quick look how we got here in this game. 3 runs for the Boulders in the first, 3 in the third. Then they put 2 spots up in both the fourth and the sixth to take a 10-2 lead. 5 of those 10 runs coming on home runs. Otters are going to take a different approach here. As Jake Polancic will get the nod out of the bullpen. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Polancic on the mound. Felix behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. First pitch home from Polancic, a swinging strike 1 on Max Smith. Smith so far in the game is 0 for 2, strikeout, flyout, and walk. The 0-1 to Smith. Stays high and outside. We see Jake Polancic making his first appearance since the middle game against Washington, where he gave up no runs on no hits and 1 inning of work. Ball outside. Stays out for ball 2. Polancic part of the middle of this bullpen that hasn't seen a lot of action in the last few weeks. 2-1 to Smith. Ball's in for a called strike 2. That evens the count up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Defense straight up all the way around, and because of it, there's a huge gap right up the middle. A 2-2 to Max Smith. Called strike 3. And the half inning for Jake Polancic starts with a German American Bank strikeout. Some more about Jake Polancic as he continues along this season. 24 appearances now for him, 32 strikeouts after that last one, just 9 walks. Very good about not giving up the free passes. ERA sits just south of 5.0. First pitch home is a swinging strike 1 by Jake Mckenzie. McKenzie's reached in 3 of his 4 opportunities, 2 singles, a walk, and a strikeout. The 0-1 on its way, low and outside. The count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Another glance at things across the Frontier League. Lake Erie still holding on to a 6-2 lead at Quebec, bottom of the 7th there now. 1-1 to Mckenzie. Swinging strike 2 on the inside edge. He foul tipped it into the glove of Felix. The other game still going on. Sussex County still holding on to their 2-1 lead at Gateway. They're in the top of the 8th right now. Big chance on the 1-2. Fouled into the face mask chest protector of Justin Felix, and everything will take a second to reset. Polancic taking a couple extra seconds to get himself back up on the bump. Ready to go on the 1-2 to Jake Mckenzie. Looking for back-to-back German American Bank strikeouts. Pitch on the way. Swinging strike 3, and it is. Back-to-back German American Bank strikeouts. Good start to the game for Jake Polancic.
Left fielder, 27, David Vinsky.
He will welcome David Vinsky to the plate now, who's 3 for 4. 3 singles, 2 runs scored. It has been a great day so far for Vinsky. First pitch home for a strike 1 against Vinsky. Count evens up now. Out to the next pitch, stays low. Even count at 1-1 with 2 outs here in the top half of the 7th inning. Ball stays high for ball 2. An interesting feat happened in the Y'alls and Grays game. Brennan Price homered 2 different times against Mizuki Akatsuka, but the first one came against Akatsuka throwing lefty. The second home run came against him throwing righty. Rare to hit 2 home runs in a game, even more rare to hit them both against the same guy who's throwing with 2 separate hands at you. A 2-2 to David Vinsky. Lifted high and foul, and he'll live to see another pitch on the 2-2. The Otters cannot come back in this one. The series will be evened up at 1 game apiece, and the rubber match will take place tomorrow night. 6:35 first pitch here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports if you can't join us in person. If you can or would like to, hop on EvansvilleOtters.com to find tickets. Pitch outside sends the count to full now. Jake Polancic took over here in the top half of the 7th, struck out the first 2 he saw. And on the full count, he'll try to strike out the side. 3-2, payoff pitch from Jake Polancic. Called strike 3. And Jake Polancic strikes out the side here in the top half of the 7th. Keeps the Boulders at bay as they still lead 10-2 over the Otters. Into the bottom half of the 7th inning we go. And it's going to be a new pitcher for New York. Dylan Smith is going to get the nod out of the bullpen. The Gastonia, North Carolina native will look to keep this game where it's at. Again, it is Dylan Smith getting the nod. 19th appearance of the season. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Smith on the mound, Martellini behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. I say that, it looks like there could be another change out there. Looks like we could have a new catcher behind the dish. Wait to see exactly where the home plate umpire points here in just a second. But it does look as if Alfonso Rita has checked in. He has. Alfonso Rita has checked into the game at catcher. Which means it's actually the pitcher-catcher battery of Smith on the mound and Rita behind the plate. I imagine he'll probably check in to that 8 spot where John Martellini had been. Alfonso Rita now in the game.
Catcher number 5, Justin Felix.
We start off the bottom half of the 7th inning. Justin Felix, Tyler Dones, and Miles Gordon. Those three have produced the best scoring opportunities so far of the game for the Otters. They scored on one of them. First pitch to Felix. Comes in for ball 1 on the inside edge. Felix taking some time to step back in at the plate. Bases are empty, no outs, obviously, starting the half inning. Felix ready on the 1-0 and stays a bit too high and on the outside edge for ball 2. Looks like another arm warming up for New York as we speak, but it is light tossing down there in the left field bullpen. Nothing extreme. The 2-0 stays a bit low, and Felix has himself out 3-0 in the lead. So a little extra time taken here as settling back up on the bump is Dylan Smith before the 3-0 to Felix. And it's strike 1 on the inside edge. I wanted to give you a little update on Parker Brahms, who's playing for the Rookie League Reds in the Cincinnati affiliation after having his contract purchased a few weeks ago. He's appeared in 3 games, and he's given up just 1 earned run in 7 innings of work. So he's got an ERA at 1.29. Officially a 2-0 record with him.
That's a deer sidewalk.
Felix is going to take ball 4 and get on base for the second time this evening.
Second baseman, number 18, Tyler Dones.
To check on another man in the affiliated ranks where the Otters had men purchased out. Tim Holgray first saw his contract terminated by the Columbia Fireflies through the Kansas City Royals affiliation, but 2 days later was signed by the Detroit Tigers and assigned to the Lakeland Flying Tigers. So good to see him still being able to get opportunities this year across time for both Columbia and now Lakeland. He's appeared in 9 games, as an official record of 1-1. Although in his 9 games played, none of them are starts. He's given up 11 earned runs in 18 innings of work. A 1-0 to Tyler Dones. Comes across for a called strike, and the count evens up at 1-1. Another one that we wanted to keep an eye on is Gary Mattis, who got the call up to the Visalia Rawhide, and in his very first game with the Rawhide in his first game with the Hops had himself an absolutely great diving play, was then sent back down to the rookie leagues for a second before being called back up, this time to the Visalia Rawhide. Since joining Visalia, he's appeared in a few games and has himself a couple of hits as well. Tyler Dones finds himself striking out on a pitch outside. First strikeout of the day for him.
The Edward
He's 0 for
Jones
3.
leadoff hitter of the game. Center fielder, number 6.
Edward
Miles
Jones
Gordon.
leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, now makes his way to the plate. Runner at first and just 1 out. Evansville just looking to keep themselves in the thick of things. Still down 8 runs in this game. First pitch is outside, ball 1 to Gordon. Gordon on the day is 2 for 3, a single, a double, and a flyout. After his double, he stole third and advanced home on a wild pitch. The 1-0 to Miles Gordon. Called strike 1 on the outside edge, and his count evens up. We do have both the two other games still going on this evening in the bottom of the 8th now. Lake Erie still holding on to their 6-2 advantage at Quebec. Sussex County still holding on to their 2-1 advantage at Gateway. Then, of course, our game, the third and final game, still in play. 1-1 is way outside, and because of it, Felix is going to make his way to second very easily on the wild pitch. Otters will have a chance, if this game continues the way it does, to win the series tomorrow night in a rubber match against New York. Robbie Rowland will be on the mound for New York. He's pitched in 13 games, has 13 starts, of course, this year. He's 2-3 in those appearances, a 5.66 ERA, but he has quite a few strikeouts to his name, 52 to be exact, in his 76 innings of work. 2-1 to Gordon. Stays outside, ball 3. All 4 pitches have been outside, but the one called strike was just a little bit closer than the rest of them. Felix has himself a hefty little lead out there at second as the 3-1 comes home to Gordon for a called strike 2 on the outside edge. All 5 pitches he's seen have been on the outside, but the 2 that have been a little bit closer than the rest have both been called strikes. So it'll end up being a 3-2 payoff pitch for Miles Gordon with 1 out and a runner at second, and time is called before the pitch happens. So Gordon will get to wait once more before actually taking the 3-2. So we'll try again on the 3-2 with 1 out and a runner at second. Evansville looking for an RBI here. The 3-2 to Gordon. Outside, ball 4, and instead they'll take a second runner on, both via the walk.
Sidewalk Cafe and Bar.
So with 1 out and 2 on, Elijah Mcnamee will make his way to the plate. Right now, Mcnamee is 0 for 3 on the day. 2 strikeouts and a fielder's choice.
Right fielder, number 9, Elijah Mcnamee.
Little wait for Elijah Mcnamee to get his first pitch. And it's a called strike 1, almost right down the middle. Defense playing straight up all the way around, hoping for a double play. Mcnamee goes straight at the third baseman. It's caught for 1 out, thrown to second for the retreat from Felix, who's not able to get back in time. It's a strange 6-4 double play that ends this inning for the Otters. We've played through 7. Evansville still trails 10-2. To the top of the 8th inning we go. Jake Polancik's going to hang up on the mound for the Otters as they look to keep this game where it's at, a 10-2 advantage in favor of New York.
Fly around the bases courtesy of Breakers Jewelers due to wet field conditions again. No,
That's the way it stands right now. Evansville will have to play in a potential.
We're hoping to have the fly around bases tomorrow night for our series finale against New York.
Rubber game tomorrow night to see who's going to win the series.
Number 7, Austin Dennis, is leading off.
Evansville would love to find themselves on the winning side of a series. They've really struggled in the recent goings. In fact, you have to go all the way back to the home series against the Schaumburg Boomers that included the end of the 9-game winning streak to find the last winning series for the Otters. Since then, they have now dropped 4 straight series, and with a loss against New York tonight, will be on the brink of a potential 5th one. A 1-0 towards Dennis. He sends it out towards center field. Charging in is Gordon, and it'll land in front of him for a base hit. First hit given up by Polancik since he entered the game. He struck out the side back in the 7th.
Designated hitter, 38, Giovanni.
That now brings up the cleanup man, the DH Giovanni Garbella, who's 1 for 3 with a single, a walk, ground out, and a fly out so far in the game. Looking like New York, depending on how this 8th inning goes, could have a couple guys grab a 6th opportunity at the plate in the game. First pitch to Garbella is in for a called strike 1 here in the top half of the 8th inning. There's a runner at first, no outs. Polancik firing home on the 0-1. Stays a bit outside, count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Defense set up in double play positioning around the infield, straight up in the outfield as a 1-1 comes home to Garbella for a called strike 2, and he finds himself back in the count. A 1-2 on the way home to Giovanni Garbella. Swinging strike 3, it's foul tipped into the glove of Felix, and it's the 4th German American Bank strikeout for Jake Polancik.
Right fielder, 31, Francisco Del Valle.
So that will bring up the right fielder, Francisco Del Valle, who has an RBI single, an RBI double, a walk, and a pop out so far in this contest. They check on the half swing out there from the umpire, Matt Beaver. He says no, he did not, so the count's at 1-0. A 1-0 count on the way home to Del Valle. He half swings. This time, home plate umpire Brandon Spivak said yes, he did. The count evens up at 1-1. A 1-1 to Del Valle. And it swung on and missed on the low inside corner. Actually bounced away from Felix. It took a weird hop on him too. And Del Valle falls back in the count 1-2. There is a man warming up for New York down in the left field bullpen. Might see a 4th arm on the day for New York. Polancik checks over at his runner at first. And here comes the 1-2. It is just barely fouled away as Plancic slipped as he landed. Took a weird landing spot on his way down. He goes over and readjusts some of the dirt. And a game for the Otters that has really dragged along after last night's contest. They're hoping to just get through this one after really struggling in the early innings. Time is called as one of the warm-up pitches ends up in left field. Quebec is trying to put together a comeback. They've scored 2 runs already here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Sorry, bottom half of the 8th inning. They just switched over to the top half of the 9th. Lake Erie leads 6-4. They might try for some insurance here in the 9th before going to the bottom half of the 9th and giving Quebec one final chance in that game. 1-2 is a called strike 3. Make it 5 German-American bank strikeouts for Jake Polancic. Polancic really seeing things well in his 90th career game pitched. Walking up to the plate now is number 40, Ray Hernandez, going to make a pinch hitting opportunity. First pitch is outside, ball 1. He plugs into the 6 hole where Gabriel Garcia usually is. Garcia was the third baseman, so we might see Hernandez take over. Hernandez played third base last night. 1-0 the count towards him. And the pitch comes home from Polancic. A called strike 1 on the outside edge. Evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Sussex and Gateway have just turned over to the top of the 9th as well. 2-1 in favor of the Miners right now. A swinging strike 2 as a pitch kind of works away from the zone, gets away from Felix, and because of it, the runner Austin Dennis is going to advance to second. I believe officially that's probably going to be a pass ball there, as it was certainly catchable for Felix. One ball, 2 strikes for Ray Hernandez. And Polancic's trying to strike out his 6th batter of the night. He'll try to do it on the 1-2. Swinging strike 3. And 6 of the 7 batters that Polancic has faced have sat down with strikeouts. We head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Otters still trail by 8. New pitcher for New York as we head to the bottom half of the eighth. Ryder Yako will get the nod out of the bullpen. 6'2", 210, out of the small town of Lake, Kansas, in western Kansas, a few hours from where I'm originally from. And Yako will appear in game 14 of the season. ERA just over the 3.0s. He's looking to keep this game where it's at, a 10-2 advantage for the New York Boulders. They'll face Sinsley, Baez, and Biermann. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solution. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Yako on the mound. Rita behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. First pitch home to Sinsley, high outside, ball one. Looks like another man warming up for the Otters out there in the right field pen. I think it could be the new man Kevin Davis out there. Called strike for Sinsley, evens the count up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Sinsley on the day is 0 for 2, a fly out, a strikeout, and a walk so far to his name. 1-1 coming home. It stays well inside for ball 2. Defense is playing with another heavy shift to the right side on Stephen Sinley. The 2-1. Called strike 2 on the high outside corner. Evens the count up. A lot of chances for rain tomorrow, including quite a bit in the afternoon. Keep an eye on the Otters' social media. If there happens to be any game changes, you'll find them all there. You can follow us on Twitter at Evansville Otters. Follow us on Instagram at Evansville Otters, or you can like the Otters on Facebook and check all 3 of those, especially Facebook and Twitter. That's where you can get the most up-to-date information all the time, is the Otters are going to be playing or not. 3-2 to Sinsley. Foul tipped, keeping himself alive on the payoff pitch. Does look like when the rain does move in tomorrow afternoon, it could be here all evening and night long. So guess we'll see how likely our chances of playing are. Hope we can grab one more game against this New York team. 3-2 to Sinsley. Stays high and outside for ball 4. He's going to lead off the half inning with a walk.
Sidewalk Cafe and Bar.
Second time this evening, Sinsley's earned himself a walk. And because of that, he is working his career walk number up. He's got well over 100. The switch hitting Brian Rosario is going to get an opportunity here in a pitch hitting chance. He'll sub in for the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez. Rosario so far on the year, batting .750, though he's only had 4 at-bats with the Otters, has hits in 3 of those 4. That was in his Otters debut there at Sussex County on Sunday. First pitch to Rosario, he shows bunt, pulls away in time for ball 1. Does look like Biermann is still in line to take the 5-hole batting opportunity. 1-0 chance for Brian Rosario with a runner at first and no outs. He puts it right back up the middle. It's off the glove of the pitcher, Yako. There will be no play, and there's runners at first and second now on an infield single. Rosario sounded like he might have cracked the bat. Regardless, he gets himself a hard-earned base hit there with a rocket shot right back up the middle.
There goes some more lumber, more wood for that fire.
We'll call it a broken bat. It's more lumber for the fire. Get your new lumber at the house lumber.
First baseman, 45, Zach Biermann.
First baseman Zach Biermann's going to make his way to the plate. He's got 2 on and no outs. Big opportunity for Biermann. Even if this game can't really be officially won by the Otters with this swing of the bat, he could at least bring the Otters to within 5 if he was able to grab a home run. And even if the Otters don't get back to win the game, he could at least give the Otters some positive momentum working until tomorrow. First pitch on the way home to Zach Biermann. High, ball 1. Runners at first and second, a 1-0 count. Pitch graces the outside edge. Probably a little upsetting for Ryder Yakel to not be able to hit the strike zone there. That was a close play, but he's not able to get the call going his way. 2-0 the count now to Zach Biermann. 2 on, nobody out here in the top or bottom half of the 8th inning. A 2-0 is lifted high and shallow to the left side. Dropping back is Dennis. In shallow left field, he brings it in for out number 1. Frustrating at bat there for Biermann, I'm sure. That will bring up the third baseman, Troy Viola, making his very first appearance for the Otters and his first professional start. First professional game at that. He reached on a hit by pitch in the 4th, but is yet to pick up his first professional base hit. The first pitch home to Troy Viola. Stays low outside, ball 1. Sinsley at second. Rosario at first, and a 1-0. Coming home to Troy Viola. Pushed out to the right side. It's in foul territory, but it's going to end up out of play in the first or second row.
I'm here to let you know that overhead foul ball is brought to you by Heads Construction. Choose the best.
The count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just 1 out here in the bottom half of the 8th. Otters looking to at least make this not as bad on the scoreboard. Currently 10-2. The 1-1 comes home low and inside for ball 2. If Viola can make it on base, George Khalil would be up again. Khalil has 2 chances so far tonight with runners in scoring position that he could not capitalize on. A 2-1 to Viola. Outside, ball 3. And he's potentially 1 pitch away from getting on base for the second time tonight. Viola ready to go. And the man on the mound, Ryder Yakel, nods in towards his catcher. Here comes the 3-1. Viola just fouls that one back into the netting. Count is now full. Really has been no breeze since maybe the second inning of this game. There were supposed to be a couple of rain chances at about the 10 o'clock hour tonight. They all went away. Otters were able to keep playing this one as is. The 3-2 to Viola. Hit sharply towards the netting on the right side. And the count remains full for Troy Viola. 1 out, 2 on. A 3-2 to Troy Viola with 1 out and 2 on. Pitch on the way. Again fouled back into the netting. Again, Viola keeps himself alive. Good work from Viola in this at-bat to, if nothing else, really make Ryder Yakel work hard. We will try it all again, this time on 3-2 with 1 out and 2 on. Viola sends it chopping to the left side of the infield. Yakel picks it up. The throw to first. Is it in time? Yes, it is. Viola ever so close to his first professional base hit. He'll have to wait at least one more at bat, but it does move both runners. With 2 outs, there's now runners at second and third.
Number 28, George Khalil.
George Khalil is going to have another opportunity with 2 men in scoring position. Second time in a row he's been at the plate with runners at second and third. First pitch to Khalil. Called strike 1 at the elbows. An 0-1 for George Khalil. Heads to the plate now. Outside. The count's evened up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Ryder Yakel's got a pretty release up there on the bump. You can almost see the fingers come rolling across the top of the ball on that pitch. Has a lot of good movement to it. Going to try on the 1-1 for George Khalil. 2 outs, 2 on. It bounces in, gets past the catcher Rita, and a third run for the Otters is going to score on a rough play for New York. 2 have now scored on wild pitches. 1 has scored on an error. Evansville still trails by 7. So George Khalil now looking at a 2-1. Now just 1 runner on. It's Rosario there at third. It is a wild pitch officially. The 2-1 sent chopping right back up the middle towards Yakel. It gets past him. Picked up by the third baseman. There will be no play. It's an infield RBI single by George Khalil that scores a run. And the Otters, I don't want to say earn one, but for the first time tonight have actually driven in a run and not just had one score on wild pitches or errors. And the Otters are now within 6. Play 9 for a reason, and Evansville still has every shot to come back in this one. Just got to keep linking hits and opportunities together. There's a runner at first with 2 outs for Justin Felix. Felix has already reached base twice tonight. They check over on Khalil. Now here comes the first pitch to Felix, who swings and misses at a high fastball for strike 1. I do believe it is still Kevin Davis warming up for the Otters down in the right field bullpen. Oh, 1 the count for Justin Felix. 2 outs, runner at first. Pitch coming home. It's left alone for a called ball or strike 2. Felix is going to take a couple extra seconds stepping in. Getting ready for the 0-2. 0-2 for Felix. Swinging strike 3. That's how the 8th inning will end, but not before the Otters score 2 runs. 1 on a wild pitch, 1 on an RBI single from George Khalil. We've played 8 complete. Still New York's game, though, 10-4. Well, a couple of crooked numbers for the Boulders early really set this game apart. 3 runs in each of the first and third, 2 runs in each of the fourth and sixth. 5 of the 10 runs have come on home runs.
Rosario staying Yankees in left field. And we do have
Rosario's going to take over for Baez out in left. And there is a pitching change as the brand new Otter, Kevin Davis, is going to get the nod out of the bullpen. 6'9", 255. Towering righty out of Orland Park, Illinois, is another man from USC Upstate. The place that Devin Buckner is from.
Tell them same from the Otters.
This call to the bullpens presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Kevin Davis on the mound with Justin Felix behind the plate. The pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East. Located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000.
$2 hot dogs to wrap up our 6-game.
We're here in the
tickets are still on sale.
Top of the 9th inning. Evansville will look to keep this game where it's at and give themselves one final chance to come back. Due up in the top half of this 9th inning, Chris Quitzer, Alfonso Rita, and Max Smith. Quitzer already has 2 home runs in this game, a 3-run and a 2-run. Final warm-up pitch has been tossed by Davis, and he's ready to go. Here in the top half of the ninth.
First base for 9, Chris Quitzer.
Quitzer taking his time to step in. And he is ready to go. First pitch home to Quitzer. Stays high, ball 1. Defense is straight up all the way around for Quitzer. As the 1-0 goes home. Called strike 1, a late call from Brandon Spivak. If you missed it there right as we came back from break, Rosario did stick in the game in left field, filling in for Jeffrey Baez. A 1-1 on the way home to Quitzer. Fouled back towards the netting, and he falls back in the count 1-2. A chance for Davis to get himself an early out. Worth noting, though, it was a very good performance for Jake Polancic. He faced 7 of a possible 6 batters he needed. He gave up 1 hit, struck out the other 6 he faced. A 1-2 stays outside for Quitzer, and the count evens up at 2-1. Fun to watch Polancic really control a game like that. Davis is going to try now on the 2-2. Lifted up towards left field. Rosario chases that way a little bit, but then lets it go as it's well foul. The count remains at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Long wait for Davis up on the bump. Finally, here comes the 2-2. Swinging strike 3 on a way high pitch. And that means that 7 of the last 8 Boulders have struck out.
Fans in Section G will each receive a free lottery ticket. Fans must be 18 or older to receive a prize for.
I want to look through the upcoming schedule for New York here in their next few games. Of course, they have to finish the series against Evansville this week. Before 3 at Gateway, just a few hours to our west, before heading home to face Trois-Rivières in a 3-game set. First pitch to Rita in his first opportunity of the day. Rita subbed in as a defensive substitution in the bottom of the 7th inning, now making his first offensive chance. The 1-0 for Alfonso Rita. Called strike one, evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Another arm starting to warm up for New York in the left field bullpen. Will be their 5th pitcher of the night. A 1-1 to Rita. High inside, ball 2. 7 of the last 8 batters for New York have struck out. 6 of the 7 courtesy of Jake Blansick. The final one from Kevin Davis up on the mound now. A 2-1 on the way. Misses to the outside edge. The slider just ran away for ball 3. Due up after Rita is the 9-hole hitter Max Smith, who's 0 for 3 in the contest. But first, the 3-1 to Rita. Way high inside, almost catches him. He had to dive out of the way. And it's a little bit of a scary ball 4. He's going to work himself down to first for free, though. That'll bring up Max Smith now, who walked back in the second inning. And then went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a flyout. Other than the 2 pinch hitters, Ray Hernandez and Alfonso Rita, every single Boulder that started this game made it on base at least once. Max Smith is going to start with a called strike with 1 out and 1 on. Otters are in double play positioning around the infield. 0-1 on the way. Swinging strike 2 by Smith. Really chased that one high and away. The 0-2 for Max Smith is just barely fouled back towards the netting here. He'll stay alive 0-2. Otters have, of course, 4 more at home this week. 1 against New York, 3 against Tri-City, before they have to travel to Lake Erie for 3 next weekend. An 0-2 for Max Smith. Swinging strike 3, low and away. The Otters continue an impressive couple of innings.
Top of the order, second baseman, 13, Jake Mckenzie.
In fact, it's now 8 of the last 10 hitters have struck out for New York. Back to the top of the order we go, and Jake Mckenzie, who is 3 for 5. Apologies, 2 for 4. 2 singles, a walk, and 2 strikeouts to his name. There's 2 outs and a runner at first. Defense playing deep now, hoping for the one sure thing out. Ball bounces in for ball 2. Felix will have the ball changed out before a 2-0 pitch to Jake Mckenzie. Over at first is Alfonso Rita. He reached on the walk. As a 2-0 comes home to Jake Mckenzie. Swinging strike 1. Impressive power behind Kevin Davis. Doesn't blow it right past you, but has enough behind it that it fools some of these batters. Excited to see a little bit more of Kevin Davis. 2-1 ends up outside for ball 3. Davis will try again on the 3-1. Ball 4 up high, and he's now struck out 2 and walked 2. Runners at first and second with 2 outs.
Left fielder,
as the left fielder David Vinsky heads to the plate. Vinsky is the one that's 3 for 5, 3 singles and 2 strikeouts to his name. Of the 2 strikeouts, one's looking and one is swinging. We've got two more finals from the Frontier League. Lake Erie does hold on to win 6-4 at Quebec and win the series. Hats off to the Crushers. Big series for them. Sussex County defeats Gateway 2-1 to win that series there at Gateway. But it does look like we're going to have a handful of rubber matches tomorrow. As the Tri-City Joliet Series, Washington, Ottawa, and Evansville, New York will likely all be rubber matches. The only one that's still up in the air is, of course, our game, New York, Evansville. If the Otters can come back, then potentially win, then it would not be a rubber match, of course, because they would have won the series. Or as of right now, it is a tall order. A 1-1 for David Vinsky with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Pushed out towards right field. Long run for Mcnamee. It's going to drop for extra bases. Mcnamee picks it up. 1 run's going to score on an RBI double for one of the best RBI hitters in this entire league, David Vinsky. Vinsky now has 56 on the year. That ties him for third in the Frontier League. Rita's going to score from second on the play. Mckenzie's going to reach third. There's now runners at second and third with 2 outs as Austin Dennis heads to the plate. First pitch to Dennis. Swinging strike 1. He was ahead of that one, got a little tip of it, but it ended up in the glove of Felix. Oh and 1. The count towards Austin Dennis. Dennis has 2 separate sac fly RBIs in this game. Pitch way outside for ball 1. Counts evened up at a ball and a strike. Highlight of the night in the Frontier League has to be Ottawa, scoring 4 in the bottom of the ninth to come from behind and walk off against Washington. That means that even if the Otters fail to come back in the bottom of the ninth inning, they at least stay just 3 games back. A cold strike has taken the count to 1-2 now for Austin Dennis, and a chance for Kevin Davis to get himself out of the inning after giving up the 1 run. A 1-2 to Austin Dennis. Lifted high and straight back behind home plate. It's out of play. The count remains a 1-2.
By Heads Construction, choose the best, never regret it.
Defense is set up with a bit of a skew to the left side, and now they kind of move back to straight up positioning all the way around. 1-2 count for Austin Dennis. 2 outs, runners at second and third. Kevin Davis looking to close out this ninth inning. 1-2, swung on and missed. All 3 outs that Davis does get are German-American made strikeouts. But an RBI double for David Vinsky has given another run of insurance to New York. Last chance of the Otters coming up next as they trail by 7 entering the bottom of the ninth. Want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports is presented by Bud Light. This Bud's for you. A new pitcher needed for New York as they're going to ask Leo Pineda, 6'1" righty, to come in out of the pen. Hails from Azua, Dominican Republic, and will look to keep this game at 11-4 in favor of New York. 21st appearance on the season for the righty as well. This call to the Bullpens presented by our friends at Business Communication Solution. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It's Pineda on the bump. Rita behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Dones, Gordon, and Mcnamee due up for the Otters. Long way to go if they want to come back in this one. They need 7 runs to tie, 8 runs to win. Dones ready at the plate. First pitch home, high and inside, ball 1. If the record stays this way, we'll have a rubber match here tomorrow night, 6:35 first pitch here at historic Bossy Field. If you can't join us in person, join us here on the air. Otters Digital Network or Flow Sports. 1-0 is launched to shallow right field. Quitzer dropping back in foul territory, and he brings it in. A foul out for out number 1. To the top of the order we go. Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game. Miles Gordon heading to the plate.
Number 6, Miles Gordon.
Gordon is 2 for 3, a single, a double, a flyouts, and a walk so far to his name. Gordon kind of manufactured his own run in the 5th, doubled, then stole 3rd, then scored on a wild pitch. First pitch home to him is a called strike 1. Oh, 1. The count to Miles Gordon with 1 out, nobody on here in the bottom of the 9th inning. It's way inside. He's able to jump out of the way for ball 1. One ball, 1 strike for the center fielder, Miles Gordon. And it is a called strike 2 right at the elbows. Due up next is Elijah Mcnamee. And if need be, Steven Sinsley's in the hole. One ball, 2 strikes for Miles Gordon. Stays low. The count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Counts evened up. 2 balls, 2 strikes for the center fielder, Gordon. Swinging strike 3, and the Otters are down to their last out. An impressive feat for this New York team. They have had 5 pitchers in this game, and now every single one has recorded at least 1 strikeout. The starter, Hammond, had 5, and the other 4 have 1 apiece. So the last hope for the Otters will be big hit Elijah Mcnamee, who on the day is 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts, a fielder's choice, and lined into a double play. First pitch is low for ball 1. If Mcnamee can find his way on base, Steven Sinsley lays in wait in the on-deck area. The 1-0, called strike 1. Defense playing straight up all the way around for Elijah Mcnamee, who's waiting on the 1-1. Pushes one foul to the right side, and with it, the Otters are down to their last strike.
A red foul ball brought to you by Ed's Construction.
Final game to begin this evening in the Frontier League will be the final one to conclude here in Evansville. A 1-2 for Elijah Mcnamee. On the way, swinging strike 3, and the ball game ends like that.
And so
Evansville's going to fall in this one 11-4. And we will have ourselves a rubber match tomorrow. The win's going to go to Andy Hammond, his 4th of the season. He advances to 4-2 overall. The loss is going to fall on Bryce Studeville, his 2nd of the year. Studeville gave up 8 runs on 10 hits in 3 2/3 innings. He walked 2, struck out 3. A tough game for Studeville, and from there on out, the Otters were playing just a couple of steps behind in this one. 2 separate home runs really gave New York what they needed in this ball game. Evansville was only able to really manufacture one of their own runs. The other one's coming off a couple of wild pitches and an error. And in this one, they couldn't really get things working their way. And, of course, having to start the way they did made it difficult for them to really find any sort of opportunities. New York wins this one 11-4, out-hits the Otters 15-5. Evansville takes the win in the error category, not committing any on their side. 2nd straight game, they have not committed an error. Across the Frontier League, the couple of games worth noticing. Ottawa scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th to defeat Washington 6-5. That means that Evansville will remain just 3 games back here in the West Division. Also, Lake Erie defeats Quebec 6-4 and has won the series at Quebec. That is a huge series win for Lake Erie. That'll do it for our coverage this evening as Evansville falls in this one by a score 11-4. Started off big for New York, and they really did not look back in this one. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I've been Matthew Will saying so long from Evansville. We'll talk to you tomorrow night as the Boulders and Otters conclude their 3-game set.